Ready to go live now? A big college football preview plus a MLB postseason preview coming up in hour number 2 with our friend Gerry and Piscataway. Stand by.
Dave in the City is on YouTube, Stitcher, and iTunes. Search for Did Cow and subscribe today.
Coast to coast, internet sports talk, rocks of the week.
Doc Rivers continues to time and time again not get it when it comes to getting. Oh! Let him play!
How Connecticut are you? Are you wearing khakis and a polo? Regarding Lynch, who cares? What was he going to do today? Was he going to address each reporter? Oh, thank you for the question.
Cap ran through the entire Yankee lineup, but he left out one guy, and his name is Alex Rodriguez.
I like to try and forget about him because.
From Los Angeles, this is Dave in the City, brought to you by Locks of the Week Radio. Now, here's Dave Medina.
Good evening, sports fans, and a pleasure to have you here for the big Wednesday show. Good to have you with us from the Dave in the City studios in sunny Southern California on a big college week and a big baseball week. We have two things for you tonight. We have our Kids Club picks coming up in just a moment or two. And it sounds like we're going to have everybody on the board tonight. Not everyone's called in yet, but they will in short order. In hour number 2, and in fact, to be specific, it'll be at 10:15 Eastern, 7:15 Pacific. We have Gerry and Piscataway calling us to break down the MLB postseason, such as it is. There are numerous spots that are not decided yet in the AL. The NL is basically decided, and we'll talk about that too, with the division series coming up next week and the wild card playoffs. So a lot to bring to you from the baseball side in hour 2 at quarter after 10 o'clock in the East, 7 in the West. But right now, we bring you, at least for the moment, we only have one contributor, but everybody else should join us in just a bit. On a very exciting college weekend, there are a few things to be decided, and let's have this panel help us decide them.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Kids Go Picks week number 5 here in the City on Locks of the Week Radio. Good to have everybody back at it. And once again, everyone is lighting it up with the Kids Club this week. Yeah, I went 3-1 last week. Andy in Seattle went 3-1. Say hello to Ottis, went 3-1. Ron in New Jersey went 3-1. And John in Connecticut was still not far behind at 2-2. So everybody had a 500 or better week. So after 4 weeks, these are our standings. It is I, Dave in the City, at 12-2 at the top. John is in second place at 10-4. Ottis is third, 9-4-1. Ron is in fourth, 8-5-1. And fifth place goes to Andy, 7-6-1. And again, Andy was having a huge week. He'll be joining us at about quarter after this hour, coming up on the program. But there's a lot to talk about here on the show, and a lot to talk about from college football last week. It really was yet another quite wild weekend, but it also was a week of disappointments last weekend in college football. And I think to get us caught up in all things college, let's bring in what we have right now in the panel, and that would be Ron in New Jersey and John in Connecticut. Guys, welcome to the show. How's it going tonight?
What's up, Dave? Great day. Great to be back.
Good to be very good. Yeah, John, good to have you back. I should have forgot to introduce you guys one by one, but John, doing all right? Good. Ron, how's it going with you?
Good. I'm actually a little surprised at the intro. You had a little bit of surprise in your voice when you said I went 3-1. Even Ron went 3-1.
Ron, you've been good all season, so maybe it's just the nerves. I'm not sure, but you've been pretty good this year. So
I'll try to keep it up.
I tell you what, it's you should have been 3-1 last year too. Last week. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I hope people who listen to the show realize our picks are against the spread. I mean, you're 12-2. I think you should start
some sort of handicapping service. I mean, that is just unbelievable. 12-2 against the spread. I mean, that's kudos to you. I think I regret the day I said we could include you in the contest, or else I'd be
Well, thank you very much. You know, I think I've had good fortune, honestly. I haven't really... I just, you know, I know that this can turn on a dime, but thank you very much for the kind words. It's really been a lot of fun, and I'm having a good time following all these games, so we'll try to do it again this week. It'll be a lot of fun. And it's what's really great is that everybody's doing pretty well this year. Like, nobody's really started off badly. So everyone's within like 2 games of the leader. So we'll continue this as we go into week number 5. So now let's just talk about what happened last week. And I'm going to save the Tennessee rant for when Andy's here, because I would hate to have Ron go off on Tennessee without him there. So Andy will join us in just a few minutes. But first, let's chat with John. And I do want to get your thoughts about last week. And again, I think the theme of last weekend was disappointment. And it was disappointment for the entire state of Arizona. I mean, you couldn't believe just how weak both of those teams were. I mean, Arizona was hosting UCLA on national television on ABC. They got their butts kicked. And then Arizona State, after that game, just a plethora of mistakes by Todd Graham and company. An unbelievable sequence where they they turned the ball over and gave up a scoop and score, as they would call it, to you would think it was supposedly to end the half, and then they on the ensuing kickoff, the returner goes out of the end zone and fumbles it, and then USC scores again, so 14 points in a minute to end that. So that's what happened in college. Let's get your week number 4 thoughts, John, from college. Those games plus others. What did you make of last week's action?
Yeah, a lot of interesting games. I kind of knew Arizona was in trouble early in the day. Did you guys watch game day? They had the lamest, most boring guest picker, I think, in the history of college game day. It was famous horse trainer Bob Baffert, who apparently went to Arizona, but I don't think he knew a football from a horse. I mean, this guy, like, he was making his picks, and he's like, oh, well, you know, my wife knows some people from Tennessee. I guess I'll go with them. Get off the fucking stage if that's the kind of analysis you're going to bring. It was just horrible. It was just a bad omen for them. And, you know, I guess we all picked Arizona here last week, and a bad job by us, because when you really think about it, when's the last time Rich Rodriguez won a big game? And it's true. It all stems back to when he was at West Virginia, and all he had to do was to beat Dave Wanstead's Pitt team to go to the national championship, and they couldn't do that. And ever since then, I mean, his system is pretty good, but when it comes to a big game like that, I guess we should have saw him coming up small in a big spot. Same with Todd Graham. Good job by your SC team, Dave, of disposing of those frauds early on. I guess the other big news in the Pac-12, Utah just destroying Oregon. I had to do a double take when I looked at that score, 62-20. So Utah is a real player now. I'd say it's between them, SC and UCLA certainly for that division. Unfortunately for the Pac-12 long term, those teams might beat up on each other, but we'll see how it goes. The other big game that I kind of want to mention, I could say I called it with my Texas Tech pick last week. A little unlucky that they didn't win the game, that crazy play on 4th down against TCU, but that was just a great game, and TCU had some real defensive problems, as I noted, and I picked them before the season to go to the playoff, but that was when they were at full strength, and I don't think they're going to get through the season, especially in the Big 12, unscathed. I think Baylor is going to beat them. They might even pick up another loss along the way here, so I guess that's kind of my quick thoughts on college football for the week.
You highlighted a couple of very interesting points, John, with the recap. And number one, Oregon getting shelled at home by Utah. I have never seen Oregon, at least when they were like this good. I've never seen Oregon get beat around at home like that before. So it's really that was a definite eye opener. And like you said, it really legitimizes Utah as well. It also legitimizes Michigan to a degree, and I'll tell you what that means. It goes back to week 1 when Utah beat Michigan at their home on their home field, and people thought, Michigan's not going to do that well this year. And then Michigan went on to win the next 3 games. But Michigan looks like they might be more legit based on that, plus the fact that that Utah is so good. However, I think my jury's still out because they've been playing a lot of home games, Michigan. So we'll see. But now let's go to Ron and let's get your thoughts about last week's action. Oatman's not joining us tonight. He sent me the picks via the text, so we'll get to those picks a little bit later. But yeah, Ron, it was certainly quite a week. I mean, a lot of shocking moments and some crazy collapses. And I will also agree with John that the Texas Tech game was really the best game. And yeah, John, you really called that. That's pretty good stuff. So, Ron, your thoughts about the Texas Tech game and the UCLA game and the Arizona game and the Oregon game and then the Tennessee game, if you want to get to that now. Your thoughts about week number 4.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech and TCU was basically an instant classic. I mean, that was a great game. And you know what? My other favorite game from last week was actually the Thursday night game between Memphis and Cincinnati, which was just absolutely off the walls crazy. Probably the craziest Thursday night, certainly the craziest Thursday night game in history that I can remember, but one of the craziest games I can remember, period. The Cincinnati quarterback, Gunnar Kiel, got knocked out in the first half. They bring in some freshman backup, and he ends up throwing for 550 yards against Memphis. Paxton Lynch ends up throwing for like 4-something. They had over 1,100 yards of offense in total, both teams. And Memphis wins it basically with a gift. They should have lost the possession on a fumble. It got overturned for some strange reason. They marched down the field and win the game. Just an absolute bonkers game, just back and forth. But I think we're seeing more of that in college football, and in my opinion, that's a good thing to see teams like Memphis and TCU and Baylor and Texas Tech and those type of offenses, because at least you don't get those boring, plodding games like you'll get from an Arkansas or a Duke or a Stanford or something like that. So last week was definitely entertaining.
Oh yes, it's great that you brought up the Thursday game. It felt so long ago. I didn't even realize that was also week 4 action. It was really as back and forth as you can get. And you mentioned Memphis being a team that the kids club has really had an endorsement for. Bowling Green is the other team. And by the way, as far as Bowling Green took care of business against Purdue.
Bowling Green they're another team with a high-powered offense. They might be a MAC team, but man, they're fun to watch.
I've always been thinking about with all the games that they play against the Big Ten. I almost wonder if Bowling Green might eventually be a Big Ten team because they really do fit in with the rest of the Midwest. As you know, they're in Ohio and all that, so it's very interesting. So let me just, before we get into the rant on Tennessee, John, let's continue to add on some of these Week 4 outcomes. And Memphis really does look like a fun team. I think with both Bowling Green and Memphis, the question is about defense. And do you think they'll have enough defense to continue to make the run to get to a bowl game? I mean, to get a serious bowl game, not just like any bowl game, but a really good bowl game. John, your thoughts about Memphis and Bowling Green?
Yeah, Bowling Green, the bowl game you're talking about, Dave, is the group of 5 spot that one team gets from the 5 conferences, the AAC, Conference USA, Mountain West, MAC, and Sun Belt. Bowling Green is probably out of contention for that. They already have 2 losses, and considering Memphis beat them, they're probably out of the mix. But put them in the Bahamas Bowl, and I'll watch it on Christmas Eve. Certainly Bowling Green, but we're more interested in Memphis here for the group of 5 game. And I love Paxton Lynch in that offense, but their defense. I mean, Ron said it. That freshman Hayden, and I forget his last name, but that was Hayden something. He threw for that 557 yards in like 3 quarters. I mean, I've never seen a team play that poor pass defense. So they're going to get tripped up here at some point. They're a fun team, and I hope they can continue to win. But there's some, they're going to have to play against Houston, and they're going to have to play against Navy. And I just don't see them going undefeated to get that spot. I actually think either Houston or Temple or probably Boise State will end up getting that Group of 5 spot. I guess you should also watch out for Toledo too. They're kind of under the radar. Another MAC team that no one's really talking about. And they actually have a decent defense to go along with a pretty efficient defense. So those are kind of your contenders at the moment for that Group of 5 spot.
It's quite a field, and it'll be a very entertaining watch the rest of the way. Andy at Seattle has joined us. Andy, welcome to the program. How's it going tonight?
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday, buddy. Happy Wednesday. So, Andy, we certainly have a lot to talk about. Arizona was just a huge fail, so we will now open the floor to you for your Week 4 thoughts, but specifically the Arizona debacle and Rich Rodriguez's laid egg. Andy, you have the floor.
Yeah, Rich Rod, I still like him. I mean, when he was at West Virginia, he won those games. West Virginia and Rich Rod, go back and look, maybe 05, 06, whatever. Drew Slayton, I think his name was Drew Slayton. Pat Slayton and White, the quarterback running back combo. And they won games. They beat Georgia, proving why Mark Richt is not a big game coach. I think they beat Georgia in a BCS Bowl. They beat Georgia Tech in a Gator Bowl, and that led to him getting, flirtatious with Alabama. He turned that down. And he went to Michigan. It didn't work out there. And then he found a home in Arizona. And slowly but surely, taking the team from 7-6, 8-5 to 10-4, doing good things. Running that system, spread option, just never paying attention to defense, the finer details. And obviously here and there, it comes back to haunt them. But it's not just on Rich Rod. See, last week or 2 weeks ago, when they decided game day would move to Tucson, and, that was a big thing. And I feel like Arizona, they started reading about how good they were. And when that happens, you forget that you actually need to play. And they had game day, and everyone was happy. And they were hosting a UCLA team that was without 3 of their best defenders and a freshman quarterback. And everything was there for them to represent a college game day scenario in their building and basically take somewhat control of the Pac-12. However, they regressed back to last year. This goes back to last year now with Rich Rod and big games in Arizona, and there's everyone to blame, from the coach to the offense to the defense to the special teams. Last year in the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon, everyone was saying they were a pesky team because of how they played Oregon in the past, and they won the regular season matchup. What happened? They lost 51-14. Okay, you're still going to the Fiesta Bowl. Where is the Fiesta Bowl? Arizona against the Boise State team that's not that good. What happened? They get embarrassed in the first half, have a window dressing second half, and the score doesn't look nearly as bad as the actual game. Last week against UCLA, you're playing a freshman quarterback. Everything is there for you. You got to make the freshman feel uncomfortable. Gerry, I know Josh Rosen's a good quarterback. He's going to do all sorts of good things for UCLA, but he's a freshman. It's a hostile environment, and you just self-destruct on your own volition. You give up, 40 points basically in the first half? I understand Solomon got knocked out, and the backup quarterback could not throw, so why was he throwing? Every time he ran, it was a successful play. But they still threw the ball. The guy had the accuracy of a dodo in a barn, and it was just a disaster. The game was not close. The game was over after the first quarter. You cannot turn over the ball. These games are too important. They're college kids, but still, respect the ball. Respect possession. Respect having a game day. I don't know if there's been a team that's hosted game day that lost by as many points as Arizona did last week. And they should never get a game day for the next 5 years. You are on game day probation. That was a disgrace out of Arizona. A disgrace!
Andy, I couldn't. That is fantastic. I think those are. I will let the words stand on their own. That's good job out of you with that rant. Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. So, yeah, this rant has been coming definitely. Andy was very excited to come on here and say his piece. So now, Andy, I saved this for you. Ron, it is now your turn to go off on Tennessee. What in the world happened with the Volunteers at Florida to blow a fourth quarter lead like that? Okay, Ron, it's all yours.
Wow, I don't know how to follow that. It's something. My question is in the off season, right? Mississippi State returned basically their whole teams, right? And they were both teams that were at one point number one in the country last year, top 10. Mississippi State almost got to the college football playoff. So they both returned almost their whole teams, and they were picked to regress this year. But the experts, the Feinbaums of the world and the Mark Schleritz of the world and all these other college football experts said that teams like Tennessee and Arkansas were going to have breakthrough years, because they returned their whole teams. They returned the whole teams that barely finished 500 and played some of the worst football that you can ever imagine. But they're supposed to break through. Mississippi is supposed to regress. And, I mean, we called it on the preview show. Tennessee is garbage. They're garbage. I don't care how many number one recruiting classes you get, top 10 recruiting classes. At the end of the day, you have Butch Jones as your coach. Nothing's going to change when you have Butch Jones as your coach. And I know Ottis isn't here, but me and him and other Jet fans, we lived through Herman Edwards. And Herman Edwards was a coach that was good enough to build the game plan to go in, and he'd get you a lead, and he was bad enough to not know how to make adjustments, and he was bad enough to know how to create new fucking ways to lose a game. And Butch Jones is the Herman Edwards of college football. I mean, if I'm a Tennessee fan, how do you wake up in the fucking morning knowing that Butch Jones is your coach? I mean, it is ridiculous. He's had 2 leads going into the fourth quarter. I mean, that Nebraska game or that Oklahoma game was one of the worst coach games I've ever seen. He sat on the fucking ball in the fourth quarter in a game that was supposed to be the turning point game and let Oklahoma come back and beat them in their building in overtime. He tops that one off with going up big against Florida, which, a couple of years ago was the rivalry, right?
Right.
I mean, they go big against Florida, and what does he fucking do? He goes right back into a shell again. I mean, you have to be kidding me. Florida had the field goal opportunity trying to tie up the game. I forget what the distance was. Tennessee has too many fucking men on the field. You've got to be kidding me. You can't make shit like that up. That only happens to bad coaches who don't know how to fucking coach a game. I mean, he is the worst. But we're going to hear it again and again. Next year we'll hear the same thing. Watch out for Tennessee. Oh, Rocky Top. Watch out for Tennessee. They're back. Tennessee's back, baby. Ghosts of Peyton Manning, T. Martin, they're back. And they're going to finish 6-6, 7-5 if they're lucky. I mean, it's just, shame on us for even buying into any of the hype. I mean, they're just, they're a horrible team to watch. It's just, it's disgusting, the football that they play. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's a great job out of you with that, Ron. We were happy to offer the time to give you that piece, and very well executed. So
I called it.
You did call it. You did call it. You mentioned that in the preview show. It's a lot of called it today. John called the Texas Tech game. You called this, and really a lot of Nostradamus going on. So let's get to these picks now. It's already 6:25. Okay, so let's get to the picks. So we'll get right to it then. And again, there's a a four-way tie for first last week. So let's go in alphabetical order. Andy, you are the first with a pick. If you wanted to add anything else about last week's college action, I'll give you the floor for that too. But other than that, we'll take that plus your picks. It's all yours.
Yeah, it's just Benson nailed it. John gets it with the coaching too. I don't know what some of these coaches are thinking when they take the air out of their own ball, and then certain teams that, and I don't want to be anti-Cliff Kingsbury because he's good, and certain teams that run the spread option, like it does behoove the team to kill the shot, the game clock. When in the fourth quarter, if you're up, like don't go Herm Edwards, but still be aware that the clock is your friend. So just don't do what Eli was doing week 1 and week 2 against the Cowboys and the Falcons, respectively. Peyton Manning gets a lot of grief, but Manning is really good at bleeding clock and still working the offense. And it really shouldn't be that difficult, but certain teams, they kind of do. I think Texas Tech did that at the end. It's just the clock is your friend. You don't have to be, when 25 seconds left on the play clock, don't run the play. You can spark out some signals. That's what ooga is for. But it's just it's college. I was talking to my friend who roots for Arizona. It's like he was embarrassed by the effort. It's like, well, would you rather have this happen, or would you rather watch your team lose like at the last second field goal? He's like, probably lose at the last second to a field goal because the game should have been close on paper, but they just laid an egg. But it's college sports. Anyway, let's go to these picks. Yeah, I thought I'd go last because I thought the ranking was based on like your overall ranking, so I think I'm still in last, like at 7 and 6. But whatever. I guess I got more. I wrote a bunch of teams thinking we'd have a lot of checker on a checker, but the whole slate is wide open. So game number 1, I think you guys already talked about Memphis. I'll stay away there. We'll hypothetically bet on it Friday night. We will go. Oh, my dad's calling. Let me reject it. Hold on.
All right, no problem.
Hey, later, Dad. We check in once a week. I'll take Saban getting 2.5. Between the hedges in Georgia. And, I really wasn't going to touch this game. Alabama is flawed. We saw it against Ole Miss. They got no defense. The quarterback looks a little shaky. Saban jerking him around like a flaccid penis. Did no one any good against Ole Miss. But this is a Mark Richt team, and you can never trust Mark Richt in a big spot. Every week someone makes fun of Mark Richt on this program, and people like Clay Travers were saying this would be the game where the dynasty of Nick Saban comes to an end because in 2008 Alabama, was the number 3 Georgia team at the time with Stafford and a whole bunch of other players. And Alabama went on to end up losing in the Sugar Bowl that year. They lost to Florida in the SEC Conference Championship game. But that was basically the start of Saban being Saban. And so some people want to say it's poetic justice if Georgia embarrasses them this Saturday. But I still think Saban will be able to outsmart Mr. Rick. Georgia's got that great quarterback, but he was a transfer from Virginia. So I don't know what happened between his Virginia days and his Georgia days. Maybe he's surrounded by a lot more weapons. Maybe he's got more confidence strutting around campus. But Alabama is this is a heart pick, obviously. There's really, after what they did against Ole Miss, playing no defense, fumbling kickoffs, throwing interceptions, why would you pick them on the road? Well, again, it's all about anti-Mark Richt. So give me Saban getting 2.5 at Georgia. Obviously, if you're picking a team that's getting 2.5, you think they're going to win. So, yeah, roll Tide. Game number 2, we will we will take this crummy game. If anyone's watching this that's not either a Duke fan or a BC student or a BC alum or a Duke alum, you're just a degenerate gambler. Welcome to the club. We will take Duke, giving 6.5 against Boston College. I'm not sure where the game is. I wrote at BC, but I don't know if that's true or not.
It's at Duke. I see on the chart.
Okay. Well, do you see 6.5 still?
It is. Yep.
All right. This is a game that is not going to have a lot of offense. If anyone watched BC versus Florida State 2 weeks ago, you saw the BC coach have pride in protecting the ball. However, at the cost of the ball downfield. 3rd and 10, we're playing Florida State. Run the ball up the middle. Throw a screen. As long as we're not turning the ball over, we're doing a heck of a good job. Our quarterback can't throw, but we are going to limit Florida State's opportunity. And you know what? They lost. They didn't cover. They looked awful. Duke, I still don't really know what Duke's all about. Their quarterback, 3 weeks ago looked awful, and then against Georgia Tech, he was making all sorts of fancy throws. So this is a game where BC is going to be hard to score 7 points. So even if Duke has a plotting game plan and settles for red zone field goals, and if it's 9-3 at halftime, you're still in good shape because BC is going to just. By the way, they're with a backup quarterback now, I believe. Both quarterbacks stink. If they actually want to move the ball through the air, they should bring in Flutie's nephew because he's the one guy on that team at the quarterback position that can throw. But they won't. So it's just going to be a defense. BC's going to just try to protect the ball, and Duke just probably going to chip away with red zone field goals. And maybe if BC actually turns the ball over, then it's on 24-6 Duke at the end of the day. So give me Duke giving 6.5 for game number 2, week 5.
All right, thanks for the pick, Sandy. Pretty good stuff. Talking about obscure games, it didn't get any more obscure than the Georgia Southern game I was watching last week. I had to find it. It was at the end. At the very end, it was the absolute last thing on the Watch ESPN list of events. It was like a volleyball game and then the Georgia Southern. And it worked. Hey, it worked. They won. So good stuff. So good pick, Sandy. And in case anybody was wondering, I do the order based on the finish for the week, not the whole season, because I feel like if I did it if I did the season standings, it'd be like the same guy a lot, leading off every time. So this mixes it up more. Now let's go to Ron in New Jersey. Ron, it is your turn. Let's hear the picks. Week 5 college football.
Okay, Dave. Game number 1, I am going to take the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, minus 7.5 on the road against Rice. Rice is a team that lost by 50-something points to Baylor last week. I think they'll be improved against Western Kentucky, but Western Kentucky is another one of those teams who puts up 50 points a game, throws for 600 yards a game, the kid Doty, or Doherty, whatever his name is. And so I like Western Kentucky in that game. I think they can easily cover the 7.5. And in my second game, I am going to take the Oregon Ducks on the road against Colorado. They're favored by 7.5, which to me seems a little odd. But I know they're coming off of a really bad performance, and Colorado is a better team than they usually are. But I still think that line is pretty small for an Oregon team who I think does have a big week in them and probably will have a few big weeks down the road. So I'll take both Western Kentucky and Oregon on the road, both favored by 7.5 points.
Thank you very much, Ron. I will knock it down a half point because Vegas Insider has the Western Kentucky game at -7, so we'll give you that. So good luck to your picks. And now it is my turn for picks. So here we go for week number 5. So yes, as Checker mentioned at the beginning of the show, I am very hot to start the year. Actually a little worried now because I'm actually concerned that it's going to go south. But, I'm just having fun with it. Let's keep it continue. We start with this. Cincinnati plus 6.5 at Miami. Now, this is basically a spite pick for me. I am so sick of Miami being overhyped, and that team is just such a joke. They get all this talent, and Al Golden couldn't even put away Nebraska at home. This is just a coaching regime that needs to end. And honestly, I just thought that when Cincinnati was a 6.5-point favorite, 6.5-point underdog, I went back to the game that they played against Memphis, which we talked about earlier in the show. And while Cincinnati generally wouldn't be great in most spots, they really came up big. I mean, they were really right there with Memphis. I also think that I was going to say Bengals, but the Bearcats would be pretty good because Miami's defense, I feel like it's not that good anyway. And I'm just sick of the Hurricanes. I'm done. So give me Cincinnati plus 6.5. I can't wait. Miami's going to lose a game sometime. Why not this Thursday night game where Cincinnati's getting 6.5 at home? So that's game number 1. Game number 2. We go to the big matchup of the evening. At Notre Dame at Clemson in primetime on ABC. I will take Notre Dame and the Fighting Irish with their backup quarterback against the Clemson Tigers and the always non-dependable Dabo Swinney. It really is as simple as that. I'm not going to put any giant analysis behind it. But Clemson in big games. I remember when they had an opening week game. And I don't know what the deal is with the bus. That bus that goes all the way around the stadium, and then they walk through the bus, and then they go through the through the little valley, and then they go through the hill, and then down the hill, and then it's just like, that's a lot of hullabaloo for a game. But at any rate, Clemson in night games, can't trust them. They didn't look that good either in the last primetime game they played against Louisville either. So I would much rather take Notre Dame and their good defense against Clemson and their just they're very shaky performance in primetime games. So Notre Dame a pick 'em, Cincinnati plus 6.5. Your Week 5 football picks for college. And now we will go to John for his Week 5 picks. So John, much anticipation for these. Let's go and let's hear it for you in week number 5.
All right, thanks, Dave. I was just looking at that Duke BC game that Andy picked, and I nearly, spit out my water here when I saw that the over/under is 36.5. I mean, that must be the over/under first quarter for Baylor and Texas Tech. And this is the whole game. That is just going to be, that's in the Mid-Atlantic area. That game could be played in a hurricane with those two teams. That is just going to be an ugly game. But in any event, our two picks, we'll start here in another game I would not recommend watching, but we'll make a selection on it. I think this is the classic Beth Mullins Big Ten noon action, and we'll go with Minnesota getting 4 points on the road at Northwestern. Now, I've mentioned before, I think we might have underrated Northwestern a little bit. Their defense has been really solid, but I still feel like Minnesota is a good team. I picked them before the season to win the Big Ten West. They have a very good defense themselves. This just feels like a really ugly, low-scoring, close Big Ten game. And, this line is telling you that Minnesota would only be like a 1 or 2 point favorite at home. I don't think there's much difference between these two teams. So I'll take a good defense and a well-coached team getting 4 points. I think Northwestern is just a tad overrated. They're number 16 in the country right now. I don't think they're that good. I think they caught Stanford sleeping the first week of the season. I think Minnesota either wins this game outright or it's a field goal game. So we'll go Minnesota +4 at Northwestern for game 1. And my second game, you will not believe this, but I was actually going to go head-to-head with Ron on the Western Kentucky game. But I'll go away from that. We'll give you an obscure game here, and this is really obscure. I'm going to take Appalachian State minus 25.5 over Wyoming. I'm going to need to pop up ESPN3 for this one. Basically, Wyoming is just a hideous, hideous team. They lost to an FCS school, North Dakota, week 1. They lost to Eastern Michigan at home by 20 points in week 2, and Eastern Michigan is one of the worst teams in the country, and they gave up like 400 yards rushing in that game. They played a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but Appalachian State was a team, if you remember on the preview show, I mentioned you could pretty much win almost every single one of their games. They had like 20-something starters returning. They had a rough game at Clemson, which you would expect, but the other two games, against similar competition, they won 49-0 in both games. They won 49-0 on the road last week at Old Dominion, who I think is a comparable team to Wyoming. So just a complete shot in the dark. I really didn't like many games this week, to be honest with you. It's kind of hard to find games right at the start of conference play. It's like a whole new season starting. As Frank Beamer said, these are just exhibition games, these non-conference games. What a fool he sounds like. But in any event, we'll go Appalachian State minus 25.5 over Wyoming for the most obscure game you could ever pick. So those are my two picks for this week.
Thank you very much, John. And it takes a lot to get more obscure than Georgia Southern Idaho, but I think you may have done it. That's that's probably gonna. Would we say that that's taken the pole position in an obscure game of the Kids Club so far?
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty close. You know what is funny? It was a judgment call for me because you just said it. It was very tough to pick games this week. I was very seriously considering Appalachian State as well, but I changed that to the Cincinnati game, which I think will be more fun for the purpose of the contest because then we'll have different games. So good luck to the picks, John. Very nicely done. Now we go to Oatman's picks, who, again, is not with us in person tonight to talk about the picks, so I will deliver them to you via text. Here we are. Here we go. We did not have a single checker on a checker between 4 panelists so far. Now we do. It's Alabama plus 2.5 for Oatman against Georgia. He had it at plus 2, but we'll give him the extra half a point to match Andy. His second pick is West Virginia plus 7 against Oklahoma and going against Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
You like that one, Andy?
Yeah, because that was something I listed to Holgerson versus, Stoops. So that might be a family pick.
Nice. And there you have it. The Week 5 picks for Oatman. So West Virginia plus 7, Bama plus 2.5. That'll do it for the picks of college, but now we have some games to preview, and let's see, we got about a half hour. We can do this. So let's preview the big game. We have Alabama against Georgia, and Cincinnati is the well, he already talked about it in picks, but anything else you wanted to add from the Bama-Georgia game that you didn't already bring up in picks?
None.
Okay. And let's see, Ron, anything?
No, Andy nailed it. I mean, you can't trust Rick in a big spot until he actually shows he can win a game.
All right, so both of you think Bama's got this. I think Bama's got it too. John, how do you see it?
I don't know. I mean, you would figure just the coaching matchup, you would go with Bama. Just the fact that everyone seems to be writing them off. You always see that kind of scenario. Saban's teams usually respond. It's when they're really expected to win that you when they have a letdown or a close game, or you worry about it. But I really can't make of this. I don't know what to make of this Georgia quarterback just yet. I mean, like Andy said, he's a Virginia transfer, and he really hasn't played the competition yet. So I don't know. I mean, I probably won't pick this game when it comes down to it on Saturday. But if you had to make me choose, I'd probably go with Bama too. But not a ton of confidence.
Yeah, it's a toughie. It's a toughie. I'm gonna go with Bama, but again, it's just hard. It's hard to say. It's probably gonna be a pretty close game. That's what I think we can say fairly safely. So the other game on this. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
I'll add something real quick because I anti-gamble here because I don't mention players' names. I just use cliches and stuff. So we'll change it real quick. Chubb, the Georgia running back. Chubb. If he doesn't get 25 to 30 touches, then Rick's an absolute fool because between him and the LSU running back, those are the two best running backs in the country, and they can control a game if they are given the chance. So that would be ideal, but again, it's Mark Richt. You can see him up 4 with 4 minutes left in the game, and Chubb's not getting any touches. And then you would know, like John says, he's thinking about the neighborhood barbecue rather than finishing off the game. So that's why Mark Richt.
Yep. Good deal, Laney, on that. So let's get to the other matchup of the weekend that I think is going to get a lot of people's attention. Notre Dame at Clemson, and I mentioned that already in the picks, but I like Notre Dame in this one. Let's see what everyone else thinks. So let's go back to Ron. Notre Dame, Clemson. Which team do you like?
I don't have confidence in either team, really.
Interesting.
That's another game that might be affected by the weather.
All right.
The possible hurricane. But besides that, I mean, Clemson's quarterback, Watson, and their team looks like they have all the talent in the world on some drives, and on other drives, I mean, he looks like he can't complete a 5-yard pass. So it all depends on what Clemson, I know it sounds cliche, but it all depends on what Clemson team shows up. Notre Dame obviously has talent. They have the talent to win the game. But if Clemson brings their A-plus game, especially in a sloppy, wet field, yeah, I could see Clemson winning, but I don't have confidence in either team.
All right, good analysis, Ron. Let's go to John. Who do you like in the Notre Dame Clemson game?
Yeah, probably many big fingers coming my way, but I think Clemson. Ron said it. I mean, Deshaun Watson is the most talented player on the field. I mean, home game. I mean, game day in the mix, right? They're at Clemson this week. And you got to figure, this is the type of game that if Clemson can't get up and win this game, I mean, they don't deserve to be a contender. So this is why we have college football games like this. We separate the contenders from the pretenders, and you just got to figure, first start on the road for the freshman quarterback. I don't know. I just think I like Clemson in this game. It's a pick 'em at home. I'll take the home team in that kind of scenario when they have the best player on the field every time.
All right, let's give it to Andy then to get his feel for the game. Notre Dame and Clemson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a low score. Now, again, why do you think it's gonna be a low score? You don't know. Well, I'm just going by feel here. If the weather's a factor, then it's going to slow down both offenses. I watched a good deal of the Notre Dame Georgia Tech game, and yeah, I was surprised as a lot of people at how Notre Dame defense was able to rise and stop the triple option. Joe Hamilton or Justin Thomas, whatever his name is, Georgia Tech's quarterback. I think it's Thomas, but they had a Hamilton once upon a time. I mean, he just looked like an absolute clown. And then Notre Dame's quarterback, they completed some passes, long passes. I don't want to say they were Hail Marys, but they were sitting. I mean, he just kind of just threw it, and the receiver made a play. If the weather's sloppy, I don't know if they'll be able to do that. I think John and Ron both mentioned this is the freshman's first road game environment. Obviously, if he channels his inner Josh Rosen, he'll be fine, but Clemson's defense might be better than Arizona's defense. Watson, he's missing Mike Williams, Clemson's best receiver. That I don't think he might not play this year. So we're gonna miss him. No, it wasn't Maryland. They played Petrino's team, Louisville. I feel like they were their own worst enemy on offense because they were moving the ball, and then they would, like, 3rd and short would turn into 3rd and 12, and they would just stall, not because of Petrino's defense, but because of their own sloppiness. And, that game, they were up 2 possessions, not to sound like Mike. They were up 2 scores, and then they gave up a kick return, and that's the big reason why they ended up covering that game. But I'm still skeptical about the backup quarterback for Notre Dame being able to win in Death Valley. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to entertaining coaching matchup because every time you look at Kelly, he's red and yelling at somebody, and every time you look at Dabo Sweeney, he's got his arms in shrug mode, and he's got like a quizzical look on his face, like what's going on here. So it'll be fun. I think I have nothing against Clemson. In the ACC, there's very few teams that bring the eyeballs to the TV set, and Clemson's one of them.
That's an interesting observation. I never realized they were that popular, but I guess they are, though, when you think about it. So, good stuff, Andy. Now let's go to our NFL portion of the program in Kids Club. And the NFL was not that exciting last week. I'm just going to throw that out there. I mean, even the Sunday night game was not good. I mean, Denver against Detroit, and it was just a struggle to watch. And the Monday night game, and John, your team did great, but it was not great for TV. But it kind of expected it. I mean, Ron pretty much called that. The Packers really ran over a team that was tentative and just did not have a knack for passing the ball. The one positive for Kansas City, two things actually. Jamal Charles went off fantasy football-wise, so that was big. But also, they finally got some passes downfield to Jeremy Maclin. And with part of that, they broke their 18-game streak of not scoring a wide receiver touchdown. And I'm like, in today's NFL, how do you go 18 games without a wide receiver scoring a touchdown? I mean, that's just like, without a touchdown pass. It's just like, to a wide receiver. It just boggles the mind. I mean, it's like, and this is sort of why anybody who says Kansas City is a playoff team is ridiculous. Like, there's no way. Like, they'll never get past anybody legitimate because you have to keep pace with these great quarterbacks. You're not going to do it by throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage all the time. It's just not going to happen. So, other than that, the Jets lost after a couple of good games, but, that's just Ryan Fitzpatrick being himself. And how about a turf delay in St. Louis, which started the festivities with the Steelers and the Rams? That was hilarious. I remember watching that in real time. And, some sad news from the game, though. Ben Roethlisberger busted up his knee, but it's just an MCL, so he will not. I think he will only be
Rapist.
Yeah, it's 6 weeks. I heard. So he. Did you just say rape?
Somebody did.
I got you. I got you. Anyway, so that's going to be a setback for the Steelers as they move into this week's game against the Baltimore Ravens. So Michael Vick is going to start. Look, imagine that wide receiver combo. You have one guy accused for rape, and the other guy running a dog ring and being accused for killing dogs. So it's just not really a great public relations tandem, but it is what it is. So that is the NFL in a nutshell. One more injury from the ranks of the quarterback position. It's really quarterback position is just looking pretty rough right now. So let's get week 3 thoughts from the NFL. We will start with John in Connecticut. John, your thoughts about NFL Week 3?
Yeah, the only reason the Chiefs got anything going is because the Packers were up so big, and Dom Capers went to his patented prevent fucking defense that I can't stand, and actually made Alex Smith look respectable in the fourth quarter, and they just started throwing the ball down the field to Maclin, and one of these days, just like we saw in Seattle, when the prevent defense comes out, one of these days the Packers are going to get burned by it again. But in any event, that was a good game to watch. When the game was really in doubt, the Packers dominated, as you would expect. I actually think, I was pretty confident they would win on Monday. I'm actually more nervous about the game coming up on Sunday in San Francisco, and you'd say, why would you ever say that? Well, one of those things where you have one team that looked just so bad the last 2 weeks, they're going to come back at home and play much better against a team that just had 2 huge primetime wins. Everyone's going to be betting the Packers. Kaepernick always plays well against the Packers. Capers has not figured him out. So I think this could be a pretty close game going forward this Sunday. I would expect Green Bay to win, but I don't see a blowout whatsoever. As for the rest of the week, this past week, you're right, it was kind of boring. I don't know if I can live in a world where the Cincinnati Bengals are making big plays on the road to win games. I mean, what a horrible job by the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
You get up in the game twice, or maybe even 3 times. They sacked Dalton, LOL Dalton, and they return the fumble, and you think, oh my God, that's the end of it. And the very next freaking play, he goes 80 yards to a wide open A.J. Green, untouched. I mean, what are you doing? The Ravens are just a joke, and they're actually kind of lucky now. They get to see Michael Vick tomorrow night. Or if they would have been 0-4, so that's a break for them. But they should win that game. Not much else to talk about. The classy Giants would be 3-0 if they had a quarterback who knew what they were doing, but they finally got a win. And for they'll have the most talented team in the NFL now, according to Kim Jones for another week. So there you go.
Indeed. There's really not much to say about Week 3. It was just a very uneventful week other than that turf delay in the Dome in St. Louis. So let's go to Ron. Your thoughts about NFL Week 3.
Well, I guess one thing, we might have learned is that the Oakland Raiders might actually have a decent team this year.
Maybe, yes.
Even though, I know that it was against the Browns, but still they won on the road, which it seems like they haven't been able to do in the past, 10, 15 years. But one thing I guess you can take from last week too is, why are the Browns benching Manziel in favor of Josh McCown when you know what McCown is? He's a terrible quarterback. At least with Manziel, you have the opportunity to maybe get a play or two here or there. But, that was just, surprising to me. And then you had stories come out on Monday saying that the rest of the players on the team are just as surprised with the coaching staff. But, that's Mike Pettin for you. We saw him when he was with the Jets. This will go down as one of the worst hires in NFL history. It'll go down with Rich Kotite and Marty Morningwig in Detroit and whatever other shitty coach you can think of. He's just atrocious. He shouldn't be coaching high school, let alone the NFL. It boggles my mind that he got a job in the first place.
By the way, one guy who is coaching high school? Junkman brought this up a few weeks ago. Mike Sherman, remember him? He used to coach the Packers. That's funny. But and you know what?
He ran Dave. He ran A&M into the ground.
That's right.
Think about where that program was when he was there.
That was the guy that had A&M's reins before Mike Sumlin Sumlin took over. Or Kevin Sumlin took over. So very, very astute points right there. I guess that's why he's coaching a high school team right now, in the middle of Cape Cod somewhere, where Junkman is able to walk by him at the grocery store. So there you go. And Pettin, by the way, Oatman called that too. He was talking about how bad a move it was. It was a terrible move. I just think that guys who go by the book like that don't have any feel for the game. And why are owners so not aware of this? You gotta sense what a guy can or can't do and how they can react to a situation. So Eagers misplayed that thing horribly. And the Raiders, by the way, Ron, one more thing on the Raiders. This is the first time I can remember in maybe 5 years, maybe 6 or 7 years, the Raiders are giving points on the road. And when does that happen? Can you remember the last time that happened? Anybody? No? Yeah.
Dave, I think I saw a stat that said this is the first time they've actually been favored in a game in 27 games or something crazy like that.
Dang.
So, yeah, and it's deserved too. The Bears they're a hideous team, and especially with Jimmy Clausen at quarterback. One other note before you get to Andy, I think if we were to take a pool on the first head coach fired this year, I think Joe Philbin would have minus 1,000 odds. That dude is just none. Watson beat the Jets in London this week, but the Jets could essentially put the nail in his coffin if they just beat them this Sunday, because that team is just and they sign all these free agents. They're hyped all off season, and they just suck. They're a horrible team.
You just got to watch for the teams that make the splashy move in the free agency. That's the team you got to worry the most about. And say hello to Ottis was right on top of that, too. He was talking about how overrated they were. So,
Called it!
Yep, he called it, too. That's right. So, Andy, let's get your thoughts on NFL Week 3.
Well, a gold star to LOL New England. I know it was only Jacksonville, but they didn't punt. They only turned the ball over on downs the last possession of the game. And they got a bye, so good for them. The overall week, in the overall league right now, big trouble with these starting quarterbacks. And I know the quarterbacks that are hurt are not, great, but they bring character. We like watching Cutler because he's a jerk, but he's got a great arm, but he's a jerk. We like watching Drew Brees because he's an ass clown, but he's he's talented, but he's an ass clown. That's why we like watching Drew Brees. We don't like watching McCown. We don't like watching Cloud. We like watching Tony Romo because he's good and he's entertaining and he adds character to the games. We like watching these quarterbacks. And when they're out of the game, it just completely destroys the juice. It's like every game with the backup quarterback is like watching a Spurs game without Ginobili, Duncan, and Parker. It's just it transforms the game. And watching the Seahawks Bears, the Bears basically borrowed BC's playbook when they played Florida State, and John Fox was just happy with, we'll get it to the 50-yard line and punt it away. Why wouldn't you take a shot downfield? Sherman might intercept it, but at least you're taking a shot downfield. Come on, have some guts. But instead, 10 possessions, 10 putts, and pat yourself on the back. Throw the ball downfield one fucking time. And a big F you to the Rams. You're playing Mike Vick. You're down 9-6 or whatever. And every time they got to midfield, Fisher would do something conservative like he always does. Jeff Fisher living off 1997 or 1999 with that Miracle Bowl. That guy gets so much mileage out of taking Tennessee 9-7 with Eddie George and Steve McNair, rest in peace. The guy is, I don't know, he does trick plays. He goes 9-7 every year. He's Jeff Fisher. Wow. You can't beat Pittsburgh in your own building when all you need is a field goal to tie. Yeah, I had a little money on it, but still, you got to finish the job. And Cardwell was Cardwell Sunday night. Manning, I know Manning's arm, as we have all seen, is not what it's meant to be. He reminds me of Chad Pennington now. It's a squirt gun, but he's got a really good brain, and he can just he can throw the ball with such accuracy. Where his receivers, especially the big guy that made the big catch at the end of the game to seal it. I think it's Sanders, I don't know, or Thomas, one or the other. But man, he just can. He's got the accuracy, and I don't like Peyton Manning, but you have to give him credit. But that was a game where the Lions needed, and Denver was like, no, not tonight. But yeah, just these games with the backup quarterbacks, man, they're hurting. They are hurting.
It's really it's really taking down the quality of the league. It is less fun to watch. That's absolutely true. You know, people go LOL Romo, but now that he's not there, it's even worse. It's almost unwatchable. And
you're right. A terrible job out of Philbin. I mean, if Philbin was a farm animal in the early 1900s when agriculture ruled supreme, I'm sorry, the owner of the farm would take him back and shoot him. Like, he is done. Like, you are useless. You are a gimp. You cannot produce. Get off the farm. Bang.
Bang. Gone. In the kisser. All right, Andy, so we will leave it with you for the Week 4 NFL picks. It is your floor.
Yeah, the aforementioned lack of starting quarterbacks in the mix makes this a very hard week. I was going to take Green Bay, but John kind of swayed me in the other direction. I'm not going to take Kaepernick, but that Dom Capers prevent defense is something to really keep an eye on because, John sees it every day, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's almost, it benefits Green Bay to be up like 1 to 2 possessions in the fourth quarter instead of 3 because then the defense is still confident. But anyway, moving on. Game 1, we're going to take Arizona before I feel the adjustment's going to come with the lines and stuff. And I think Arizona's playing St. Louis. The line is 7, and it's in Arizona. And I don't expect Arizona to have like 3 touchdowns on turnovers in special teams like they had last week against the 49ers. But the defense is really, really good. And Carson Palmer, when healthy, when coherent with the good knee, I mean, he's still good. I mean, he's not Rodgers, he's not Peyton, he's not Romo, but he's as Mike would call him, a level 2 quarterback. And with the way Arizona's built, you can win with a level 2 quarterback. You can't win with a level 4 or 3 quarterback, but you can win with a level 2 quarterback. And they through the first 3 games of the year, all they've done is cover. All they've done is kind of just ran away with these games, including the first game might have been the closest one against the Saints, but Palmer made some big throws late in the game, and their defense is one of the best in the league. And as you heard with the rant against St. Louis, they, besides the game against Seattle, they always play Seattle well. Jeff Fisher always has these weird special teams plays against them, whether it's fake field goals or onside kicks or crazy punt returns or wide receiver passes. Saves it all for them. But the other 2 games, that offense has looked rather pedestrian, and a pedestrian offense against an Arizona defense is going to look even worse. Yes, Arizona, you're going to see their offense stall here and there, and they'll settle for red zone field goals. But by the time the game is over, I think Arizona is going to cover their 7-point spread with relative ease. So give me Arizona game number 1. Game number 2, we wanted to take Seattle. We probably still will behind the scenes, but we will go with Atlanta on the podcast scenario. I think they're giving 6.5. I think they're playing Houston. And this is a pick where if Mike Smith was head coach, we would have reservations about. But it's a new coach. It's a new day. It's maybe a new Matt Ryan. And my God, he is in years past, you still had like Roddy White. Is he going to play? If he plays, is he going to be good? But Roddy White is almost like Philbin at this point. Just put him out to pasture. He had his moment. But now it's Julio Jones. It's Julio Jones, and it's Julio Jones. So that is the rapport. Ryan to Jones, Ryan to Jones. And I know Houston has J.J. Watt, and they're on Hard Knocks, but they're a team I feel just they're overrated. I mean, I like the head coach just because his experience with New England, but they're a boring team. Arian Foster may play, he might not play, but even if he plays, he's still tender, he's still soft. He's not ready to get 30 carries and be the Arian Foster that we've seen in the past. And the other reason why I like this Atlanta pick is just purely based on quarterback play, whether it's Mallett or Hoyer, but I'm pretty sure it's Hoyer. I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with, Jones in that ice. The line's 6.5. I think Atlanta wins, between 14 and 17 points. So give me Atlanta, game number 2, week 4, NFL.
Thanks very much for the pick, Sandy. And just to confirm, the game is in Atlanta, so Atlanta minus 6.5, Cardinals minus 7. Andy's picks for week number 4 NFL. Now let's move to Ron in New Jersey for week number 4 NFL picks. Ron, all yours.
All right, thanks, Dave. First game, I'm going to take Mike's boyfriend, a.k.a. Andy Luck, and the Indianapolis Colts, minus 9 over a bad Jacksonville team who looks worse every week. I think the Colts still have a little bit of mojo. We know that at least Luck is going to keep throwing the ball down the field, and I think they could cover the 9 against Jacksonville this week. I know Jacksonville will probably pull off a game one of these next few weeks where they surprise somebody and win a game. I just don't think it's against Indy. And my second pick is I'm going to stick with Carolina this week, minus 3 over Tampa Bay. If you sense a theme here, it's another shitty team from Florida who can't seem to get out of their way. I know I'll probably get big fingers for that one, but Carolina's not a bad team. I don't know how they do it. They don't have a running game. They have no wide receivers, but they seem to play well every week and win the games. So I'll take the Colts and the Carolina Panthers this week.
I like it. Nice picks, Ron. Thank you very much for those. The Panthers are definitely a rough watch, though, because of all the things you mentioned. I mean, they lost their best they lost their best tight end. They don't have a wide receiver, really. Nobody of note. I'm sorry for Ted Ginn Jr. fans, but I don't really see that really being so exciting. So you're going to get games like this, like the game they had against the Saints. They were just not able to throw any real traction into it. It took a while for them to finally finish the deal, but they did. The good thing for the Panthers is that they only give 3 most of the time when they're playing, especially against their own division. So it's a terrific pick because their defense is very good. And even if though they lost that guy, remember? Did you see that run in the game? Like they lost what was it, a linebacker or a lineman? They lost a guy.
Well, Keekly, their star linebacker.
Yeah, that was the guy. I think
he's out, but yeah, they have enough talent, I think, to make up for it.
Agreed on that. It's a very, very deep, solid defense, and it's a young defense too. So it looks very, very good. So now let's go to my NFL Week number 4 picks. Here we go, everybody. We start with a team I picked in week number 1 week number 1 of the NFL. And it is the Kansas City Chiefs, down and out, kicked around, probably being LOL'd to death by everybody on Twitter and other social media. You know what? We're taking them. The Chiefs are getting 4 at Cincinnati, where the Bengals are playing, and that's a team that a lot of public attention, a lot of public support for the Cincinnati Bengals after that big win at Baltimore. This is, and I said this last week too, but I'm going to say it again. It's right when you start to really believe in the Bengals that they will start to turn on you. I'm going to play those percentages, and I'll take Kansas City plus 4 in a very good game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Game number 2, even though it's not Tony Romo, I'm going with the Cowboys plus 4 at the Saints. And, John had said this about the Saints a few weeks ago. Why does anybody give them public support? That is a terrible team. So even though they're at home, I love the Cowboys anyway, even with Brandon Weeden. I just think they stink. They stink. The Cowboys' defense is good. Their offensive line is terrific. So even Lawrence Dunbar or whoever they got back there can be well enough to establish some kind of an offense. Cowboys plus 4. So both teams plus 4. Both teams on the road. NFL Week 4 with the Dave Kids Club picks. So now we go to John in Connecticut, and John, I'm looking forward to these picks. Your NFL picks, week number 4.
Yeah, when I first looked at the games this week, Dave, I almost wanted to say I like almost every favorite, so I'm glad that you took some dogs. And I know some dogs are going to win in coverage. Just one of those weeks that I just couldn't find any really good dogs to take. I kind of said the Niners would be a good dog earlier, but I'm obviously not going to pick against my beloved Green Bay Packers. So we'll start here with a team that you mentioned earlier, and I don't want to fall into the hot take with the Raiders now, but I got to take them here, -3 on the road in Chicago. And the Bears are just a horrible. They might be the worst team in football. I know Mike probably had said that the last couple of weeks, but it's true, especially now with Jimmy Clausen. And they can't do anything on offense. And when you have a super, super conservative coach like John Fox, it just makes things even worse. The Raiders have a very nice trio forming with Derek Carr and Latavius Murray and Amari Cooper. And you've got to like what you see out of them going on the road and winning in Cleveland last week. I know the second road game, the Raiders have really never been in this spot before, the favored role, especially on the road, but I just can't see a scenario where the Bears are going to put forth a winning effort with Jimmy Clausen at quarterback, and that's just all that comes down to. If Cutler ends up playing, then I'm burnt by this pick, but I just think the Bears are just so bad right now. Give me the Raiders -3 for the first game. And for games 2, again, a lot of favorites here, but we'll take Denver -7 at home against Minnesota. Minnesota has won the last 2 games at home, but dare I say, they really haven't been that impressive. The Lions are just a joke this year. Cardwell is back to his old tricks, and San Diego just kept turning the ball over. Their offensive line, gave up like 7 or 8 sacks last week, which really made things easy for the Minnesota defense. They got Peterson going, but Teddy Bridgewater has not played well at all this season. I think he threw for like 100 yards last week. It's the first game, obviously, that was that disaster on Monday Night Football. I just think this is a really tough matchup. Denver very well might have the best defense in the league, and quite possibly the best defense that Peyton Manning has ever had, which certainly negates his the decrease in arm strength and that whole kind of thing, which Andy had mentioned earlier. And I just think that they're going to shut down Minnesota's offense. Peterson's going to get his, but Bridgewater's going to do nothing. and Denver will score enough at home. Manning will do his dinks and dunks to get Sanders and Thomas involved. Denver wins like 24-13 or something like that. So give me the Broncos winning a touchdown at home for Game 2.
All right, thank you for the picks. Now, is it 6.5 or 7? I'm looking at the chart, and I think Vegas Insider has 6.5.
Give him 6.5.
I'm going to give it to you.
Way,
Yeah. We'll go 6.5, John. So good luck to your picks. And so we close then with, let's see, I gave mine, Andy gave his, Ron gave, yeah. So we will close with Oatman's picks, and they are a checker on a checker to start it off for Say Hello to Ottis. He has the Chiefs +4 also at the Bengals, and I suspect he has similar arguments that as I do. So now I will go to game number 2, and game number 2 for Oatman is head-to-head. He's going against you, Andy. It'll be Texans +6.5 at the Falcons. And I don't know what the argument for it is. I didn't get any verbiage on that from him. So there are your picks. Week number 4 NFL. Andy, any other thoughts on the game and the potential between the Texans and the Atlanta Falcons?
No, good luck to Otis. Sorry he feels that way. And I think the wrong team is favored in the Bills-Giants game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm
being sarcastic. But
Oh. I didn't see the line, so sorry. I got you. Okay. That's funny. Okay, so final thoughts around the board for what's coming up in Week 5. We won't really have time to break down any specific games this week. So let's go to Ron. Final thoughts on Week 4 coming up in the NFL.
No final thoughts. I look forward to you and the Cap breaking down some playoff baseball. The Red Sox are really pushing the Yankees to the limit tonight, so I'm interested to hear what he has to say.
Absolutely. It's certainly a wild game. I'll say that. I'll agree with that. And so, John, final thoughts on NFL Week 4.
I hope Mets fans enjoy getting up for the London game on Sunday morning. That should be an interesting experience for sure. Like I said before, this is a weird week where you could look at the matchups and just say every favored team is going to win. But of course, that doesn't happen the way, that's not the way it works in the NFL. There are going to be some upsets. So it'll be interesting to see which one of those upsets come through. So that'll be something to watch for this Sunday.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it then for Kids Club. Thank you very much for coming on, Andy. Thanks for joining us as well. Ron, John, a good time. And Oatman also, good luck to his picks, even though he could not join us. He was not able to join us over the phone, but he should be back next week for Week 6 Kids Club. So, guys, good luck to your picks. Enjoy the weekend of college football and pro football. Have a good time. We will chat with you guys next week. Take care, guys.
Thanks a lot.
All right, take it easy.
All right, fellas. Well, so that's it for the Kids Club, and now we bring it to America's pastime in the time of the year that really rings true. It is do or die time for baseball, including this week where we have the pennant chase. So join us, won't you? Because this is what we call the postseason. This is our MLB 2015 postseason recap. And joining us for this program and this feature tonight, we are pleased to be joined by our baseball analysts, which we've had all year long. And that would be Ari in Philadelphia and John and Gerry in Piscataway. So let's introduce them one by one. Gerry, welcome to the show. How's it going tonight?
Dave, I have chest pains, a sore throat, and I'm really, really trying hard not to throw things at the TV. But other than that, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Okay, I'm fine. Boy, what a game. It started 5-0. The Yankees trying to clinch the home field in the wild card play.
3-0.
Oh, it was 3-0. Okay, so then the Yankees did tie it up at some point, but that's where we're at now. From what I saw, 5-5. Is that still the score?
Yankees tied it up, and at about maybe 6 minutes and 30 seconds later, Dylan Betances gave up a solo home run to tie the game. So in typical Yankee fashion, they fight back to tie the game, and then they obviously take the lead, and then they give the lead right back. Then, of course, they leave, Didi Gregorius has left 10 runners on base himself tonight. The Red Sox have walked the Yankees 10 times, and only one has scored. So it has been a very, 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 very frustrating night.
Wow. Yeah, pretty rough, pretty tough sledding for the Yankees so far. Now we also introduce on the show via phone tonight. It is Ari in Philadelphia, who's at the Phillies game against the Mets, and there was a fracas in that game.
Oh, big rumbles in that game.
Oh boy. Ari, how's it going tonight? Ari, do we have him? Huh? That's weird.
Fiddlin'.
Fiddle. Where is our friend the Fiddle Man? All right. Well, I think that is his number though, so we'll hear from him shortly. I'll have to hang up.
Dave, can you hear me? Dave.
Oh, there he is.
Yes.
How's it going?
My headset wasn't working, so I unplugged it.
Oh, okay.
This game is a mess.
Wow.
That's my report. We are now in hour 3. The game started 3 hours ago. We are just into the bottom of the 6th inning, and we've got beanball wars. We've got hands that are not broken. We've got relief pitchers melting down. We just had a bottom of the 6th inning. I think the Mets used 4 pitchers. They just gave the game away here. 6-5 Phillies here in the bottom of the 6th. Well, now going into the top of the 7th inning.
Oh, that is
what a mess.
What a mess, indeed. Wow, unbelievable. I mean, it's just a lot going on there, but it's not. It's pretty messy. So
the Mets had a 5-0 lead. They knocked the pitcher out in the first inning. He threw 40 pitches before retiring 3 batters, and he was out after 2/3 of an inning, having given up 5 runs. And now it's 6-5 Phillies.
Wow. So it's not over yet, but that's definitely a deflating situation for the Mets. And for the Mets, even though they clinched the division on Saturday, but they are fighting for the home field advantage in the upcoming division series against the Dodgers. That's my team, and they beat the Giants last night in resounding 8-0 fashion behind a masterful performance by Clayton Kershaw. But they will be the opponent for the Mets coming up next week, and apparently later than I thought. It's not till the 9th, so I had no idea. So good times all around. So keep us posted on the game. Ari, we'll continue to talk baseball while we get into all the particulars with the AL and the NL. And so where are we at right now? Did they start the top of the 7th? Do we have Mets at the plate? Okay, we'll get back to Ari in a sec. So, Gerry, anyway, it's the AL in particular has quite a 3-ring circus going for the wild card spots. We do have division winners, and the Kansas City Royals were the first to clinch their division, but they still have something to play for. They have to play for the number 1 seed in the AL postseason, and it's pretty tight. And they are behind now. They are behind the Toronto Blue Jays, who clinched their division today. I didn't realize it was just today. I thought they clinched it a couple days ago, but it was today. And congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays for getting the East Division. That's the first time they've done that since 1993. So,
a long time.
Long time. It's amazing how that fan base came back to life during the second half of this year. It's really festive now. It's amazing. You mentioned that.
Well, you remember when the Raptors against the Nets, and even in the first round, when the Raptors were in the playoffs, not only did they have a packed house inside, but outside they had that whole fan fest with a couple thousand people watching the game outside. So, I mean, I guess in Toronto there really is nothing, the whole country gets behind their teams, I guess. So, because believe me, Dave, I've been watching Yankee Blue Jay games for a very long time, and there have been games in Toronto the past couple of years where a foul ball was hit into the seats, and it might have taken somebody an inning to go and get it. That's how empty it was.
Wow, that's pretty gnarly. So those guys are in. The Western Division is not decided yet, and that's because the Rangers really were playing really hot last week to take the division lead. Too hot. I don't think the team's even that good. Our friend Ari tells us that the Rangers' run differential is just 2 2 runs. That's it. Brutal. So, yeah, 2. Man, I don't think Cap got that one at all. But yeah, all right. This is definitely a team that really shouldn't be where it is, to be perfectly honest. So I kind of personally think that the Rangers may lose the division the rest of the way. But tell us a little bit about that Western Division race. I mean, you've got the Rangers, and then you've got the Astros, who just are plummeting. They lost last night to the Mariners.
Really surprised me.
Yeah, they
get a fucking bunt down. I'm sorry, David. It's the bottom of the ninth. The Yankees have a runner on first with nobody out. It's a tie game. I'm sorry if I yell sometimes.
I got it on MLB Network right now, so we're following that as well. And it's let's see. Yeah, they tried to get one bunt down. It got fouled, and then he missed another one. So they got that's the impetus to get the guy over. So
gotta get the guy. You got to do the little things, which this team does not do. They don't do any of the little things right. You can't get a butt down. They don't do anything. Nothing right.
All right, Cap. That's funny.
But anyway, yeah, the Western Division. No, I agree with Ari. I didn't think the Rangers were that good, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember a series when the Yankees went in there and they beat their brains in. And even the commentators with the game, I think it was on Fox Sports 1, and they're like, well, for next year, this is before the trade deadline, they're talking about being interested in Hamels and, stuff like that. So they're really talking about next year already. Then all of a sudden they find themselves in the middle of a divisional race, which, again, like we all said, I found it pretty surprising. And, of course, Rev Snyder, who's been hot all night, couldn't get a bunt down and strikes out, and the runner standing up first. This team does none of the little things right. None. They are going nowhere.
Oh, man. Well, their next big assignment, assuming they get this win finally, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, will be that wild card game. And the Yankees, if things go according to plan, they will have the
one and done. You
don't even think they're going to win that game?
No shot.
What if they play? Well,
Dave, I've been watching.
We don't even know who they're playing.
No, we don't even know where they're playing yet.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You throw a mediocre lefty at us, and there's no shot we win that game.
All right. Well, it's. I mean, certainly if Keuchel's pitching that game, you definitely would shake.
We haven't scored off Keuchel in 16 innings.
Wow, that's a long time. But we may not even it may not even come to that. Again, the way things are going, we're going to track the Astros tonight against the Mariners as they continue that series, and the Angels, who had just won 7 in a row, including last night, where they just completely dominated the Oakland Athletics.
Get the fuck out of here.
As they should, because the A's are a terrible team. We will look at those scores as we go along, and then back to Ari. So we have quite a hodgepodge for the 2 wildcard spots in the AL. And it's amazing that the Twins are involved, too, and they're doing their part. They won against the Indians today. Who are your favorites between, I think it's 4 teams. It is, let's see. It's maybe even Texas, Houston, Anaheim, and Minnesota. How do you sort all that out? I mean, who do you have winning the division? Who do you think is going to get or will get those 2 wildcard spots as it stands? All right, we got you. Do we have you?
Yeah, I was here. Did you have me?
Hello? It's very noisy at Citizens Bank Park, but
I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm listening to the symphony.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I mean, there's 4 teams going after. I don't. The Angels seem like the hottest team right now.
Yep.
And the Rangers run differential thing, I was thinking about it a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at it like their run differential by month. Maybe they just got better as the season went on. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of slowly barrels with what the Rangers are. So, the stat person in me wants to pick the Angels and the Astros because they've just had a little bit in terms of the individual production of the players, but I don't know, the Astros just lately just
Yeah, definitely. Now, Do you think that the Minnesota Twins are a serious player in this race because they're within striking range? I don't think so either. Ari, where do you see them?
They're down 7-0 right now.
Yeah, I do see that. They are down in this game. Were they playing a doubleheader? Because I thought they had another game as well, but maybe a different team. But they are down in this game. That's true. They're down by a lot. Yeah. So, was there a second game? I guess there must have been. So whatever. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I'm not really worried about the Twins. In fact, personally, they shouldn't even be in there. Like if they win.
Everybody knows that. Dave is not worried about the Twins. Okay, and 10-1. Dave is not worried about the Twins. I think the Twins just won the World Series. Write it down.
That's funny. That is funny. So just to confirm, they are in a doubleheader, and this is the second game of the doubleheader. They won the first game 7-1. They are losing the second game 7-1. And as for the Angels, they are still playing, although just barely. They're down to their last strike.
They're down by 2, right?
Yeah, they're down 8-6, top 9, and again, they're down to their last strike, so it's 0-2.
Yankees are in extras here because obviously, a leadoff single doesn't move off first base with a net motherfucking group. But whatever.
They could still win. Remember that game when last time I had you on? Was it you? Were you on with us? But we had no, you weren't on the air. But I remember the game against Toronto, and then Bird, whatever I forgot his first name, got that 3-1 home run in extra innings. Yeah.
Yes.
The young man.
We need that tonight, Dave. We need that. We're in extras now, top 10. So get ready for some fireworks.
Oh, the game that I'm at started at the same time. It's now in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Oh, that's funny.
That's crazy. You're like Red Sox Yankees circa like 2003 when those games would take like 4 hours and like 45 minutes.
The first inning took 45 minutes, and it's been moving at the same pace since then.
That's crazy.
It is. It's hard to imagine that game starting at 3.5 hours ago. Yeah, boy. Poor Ari. He's going to be stuck there for a while, hopefully.
I mean, I could leave. I'm enjoying it.
No, good deal. No, it is an important game because the Mets are fighting for that home field, so they need every win they can get. And it's only a one-run game, so there's plenty of time. That's just got to get some base runners and move them over at the same time.
Ari, do you think after this Cespedes thing that happened, do you think the Mets will almost say, you know what, home field be damned, we're not going to run our main guys out there every night? What do you think they'll do from here? Do you think they'll go full board and try to get the home field?
No, I mean, as far as Cespedes, he's probably not going to play very much. But the other guys that aren't hurt yet, I think they're going to still play him and try to get home field. The problem is, I don't know how many games they're going to play with the weather the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
They got a game tomorrow at noon. They probably won't start a lot of guys in that game. But then the 3 games against the Nationals, I don't know how many they're going to get in. It's going to be raining all night.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rainouts and the pushbacks, and especially, even in with the divisional races. I know they were talking about it today with, possible ties and stuff. But the Yankees are doing nobody any favors. They can't win a goddamn game. So who knows what happens if there's going to be some ties for that wild card 1 or whatever. Who knows what could happen. So I think the next week could get very interesting scheduling-wise because of, the weather and maybe some of the different outcomes of these playoff of these series going on now.
It looks to me also like there will be. It looks like there are going to be a lot of doubleheaders next week, just as an outcome of all that. So it's going to be. Oh no, maybe not next week, but coming up in the next couple of days. So
this weekend, yeah.
Yeah, this weekend, yeah. In
What's
fact,
going on in the Angels game, Dave? They lose yet?
It looks like they are moving to the bottom of the 9th in the Angel game, so I'm going to switch it over to my local station so we can catch that in real time. So I'm going to take the TV and move it over there. I thought that I forgot that it was the top of the 9th and the Angels are at home, so that's why I said they're down to their last strike. It was actually Oakland down to the last strike, so we're just getting started, and so that's obviously a huge game. Texas looks like they're going to win. They're in the 7th inning at a 6-2 against Detroit. And looking at...
went to the tank this year, man.
Yeah. Tigers, man. What happened to that franchise? Holy mother.
I mean, I wasn't high on them going into the season, but I didn't expect the last place finish. I mean, they really, really went into the tank.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of old guys, too, so I think that's part of it.
They're both upperclassmen, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. So, in the American League home field race, not just home field for the series, but home field for the whole playoffs, Kansas City is beating Chicago 3-2 at U.S. Cellular Field. It is the bottom of the 8th inning, and nobody out for the White Sox as they bat. The Toronto Blue Jays already won their game, and then by winning the game, actually they won both games. No, they did not win both games. They had a doubleheader as well.
Yeah,
I think these doubleheaders are
they
just...
clinched in the first game of a doubleheader and had to wait.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, they
They
did.
lose in the second game. It's 8-1. Or they lost.
Yeah, they lost. It's game's over.
They lost.
Baltimore won the second game 8-1.
Matter, though.
So.
Yeah. They won the first game. It was like 15 to something, right?
Yeah, 15-2. They won against Baltimore.
Yeah.
So a lot of preemptive doubleheaders, I think, is what that is. So we'll see. And then if anyone cares, San Francisco is leading the Dodgers 2-0. But again, for me, that game is of no consequence other than the home field possibility for the Dodgers and the LDS. So it's a very interesting question because I think just to feed off of what Captain was saying, do you play all your guys all the way through these next few games? Is it worth it, or would you rather rest guys? Like, where's the advantage to you? And I'll actually go down the line. We'll start with Gerry first. Which would you do if you were given that option? Like, let's say you clinched your division, you clinched the series, you know who your matchup's going to be, but you're playing for a possible home field in that matchup, and that's it. Like, you're not going to play for the home field for the whole postseason. You can't do it. You're out of that. So, do you play for your divisional round home field, or do you just play it halfway, or do you just rest guys? Which one do you do?
All right. 8-7, Dave. You're asking what I would do?
Yeah, like how would you play that? Like if you were a team and you basically have most of your matchup figured out except the home field, do you go all out? Do you play everybody, or do you rest everybody?
I remember a scenario in Tampa when I think we pretty much had everything wrapped up, and Mark Teixeira took a ball. It was in 2009, actually, and that was the year we won the World Series, and he took a ball in the hands, got drilled in the hand. And I remember saying to myself, F this, I want our guys healthy going into the playoffs, get some of these guys out of the game. And it's tough because home field is a very big factor in any sport and obviously in any sport in the playoffs, so you do want that, but you also want your guys healthy. So it's a very tricky thing to try and navigate. As far as I'm concerned, I would rather have my guys healthy. Granted, I would play for it if a certain game looks like it's getting out of hand, or maybe against certain pitchers I might sit some guys. But it's a very, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's definitely a tricky situation for a manager because, like I said, in 2009. God forbid Tex breaks his hand, the Yankees don't win a World Series, and obviously Ari saw that tonight, God forbid if Cespedes, hurt himself, which he didn't, that really puts a big blow on the Mets postseason chances. So it's a very thin line, and, you got to be careful, how you go about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one. That's not one where it's not one with a definite right answer. Let's update you some more on the Angels game. So Cap already referenced Cole Calhoun's home run, which made the deficit that much smaller. It is now 8-7, a one-run game.
I need the fucking Angels to lose, please. Angels.
Oh, you want them to lose, right? Okay. And
yes.
So
yes.
Mike Trout walks. So there is the tying run is now on base, and coming
How many
up,
outs? None.
nobody out. Coming up to the plate.
Oh goddamn.
And at the plate, Albert Pujols. So we will keep an eye on that. So let's go to Ari while we wait on that decision. How would you play? I mean, the Mets are in this exact same situation. Do you play everybody? Do you just play everybody selectively, or do you not play anybody and try to rest guys for the series? How do you play the last week of the season?
Baseball to me, I think you worry about rust.
I mean, there's already 4 days, I think. 5 days? 5 days between the end of the season and the beginning of the National League Division Series.
Mm-hmm.
The season ends on a Sunday, and the Division Series starts on a Friday. So you've got all those days off, and now you're talking about giving guys more days off. You were just worried about being rusty. But on the other hand, you worry about guys getting hurt. So, I mean, it's not that you care about winning the game so much. It's staying sharp, baseball is like, it's about routine. And if you yank guys out of their routines, sometimes bad things happen.
That's a very, very, very good break. Now, a very good, and that's a very good point. It is, because you do. I think you can say that with a lot of sports, but baseball in particular is really keen on precision. And how do you stay precise?
Every day.
Yeah.
They play every day.
So when you break that rhythm, it can mess you up in some cases. So, I mean, the All-Star break has done that to some people. Jock Peterson was having a terrific first half. Then the All-Star break occurred. He was in the home run derby, and he had maybe at most 3 home runs since then in 3 months.
I think a lot of these guys that actually hit in the derby and played in the game had bad second half. I'd want to look at that. That's a theory I've had that I haven't had a chance to look at. A lot of these guys that didn't actually have an All-Star break had bad second half.
Interesting. That's funny. I have to look. Yeah.
Hey, what's the score of the Angels game?
Same score. Same score. The count is 2-2, and we are in the ninth inning. So same score. They're trying to see about whether Trout's going to try to steal a base, so they've been thrown over to first, but no advance yet. All right, guys. So let's preview some more of these NL teams. The team to beat. It's pretty an ambiguous question because I think anybody from the Central is the team to beat. I mean, the Cardinals are great. They just clinched their division just about half an hour ago. It would have been sooner, but they lost their game against Pittsburgh, and one of them got rained out, so they played that and they lost. So, that's the same game. And so they fought the second game of the doubleheader. They did win, and that clinches the Central Division. It could be the Pirates. It could be the Cubs. But let's look at that playoff matchup between the Pirates and the Cubs. It's going to be the Pirates and the Cubs. I don't think there's any real thing about it. So the Angels game moves same score, same count. So nothing's changed yet. And so
This is going to be a bad night, Dave. The Yankees are going to have a losing a heartbreaker. The Angels are going to come back and win, and I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Well, we'll see. It's the bottom of the 10th in New York, so we will see how that goes. And so anyway,
score here. If not, then the reject from Scranton comes in, and they're going to blow the whole game up. Andrew Miller already went 2 innings, and those assholes who suck are going to come in the game and blow the whole shit up. We can't get a hit off Alexi Ogando in this bullshit Red Sox bullpen. Are you kidding me right now? Oh, he threw up an A-Rod, that piece of fucking shit.
Oh man, it's funny. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't. By the way, how is A-Rod doing lately? Is he
awful?
He fell off. Wow. He was
but he had a good night tonight. He's 2 for 3 tonight. But he had his second half. He's hitting like 202. He's been absolutely awful.
Oh, Ari. I mean, it's funny because we were teasing him, but then he had a good first half, and then the second half seemed to be a massive course correction for A-Rod. Am I right?
Correct.
All right, so let me ask you first then, Ari, about Pirates Cubs. It's a shame that we got to take out one of the teams now. It really is, because these teams are so good. Who would you favor in a matchup between the two teams? And I believe it will be at Pittsburgh unless something dramatic happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that in front of me because I'm here at the ballpark. I don't know how many games are separating the Cubs and the Pirates, but I feel like if I'm the Cubs, I concentrate more on making sure I've got Dick Arrieta lined up to pitch than I concentrate on trying to get the game in Chicago. So, going forward here, I just want to make sure I don't push Arrieta. I make sure he's ready for that game because the Cubs with him pitching that's going to be tough to keep. I mean, he, especially in the second half, has been. I mean, he's going to win the Cy Young. Or he's one of the 3 guys that might win it. He's been lights out lately. And it's going to be tough for Pittsburgh, which is a shame because Pittsburgh's going to end the season with like 97 wins, and they're going to get toughed out for one gamer if Arrieta does what we all think he's going to do.
Yeah, Arrieta's having an amazing season. I think there's an argument to be made for him having the Cy Young for sure. He had the no-hitter against the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium, and I was privileged to be in the building for that. And he really looks great. Like, it's amazing how ahead of schedule he is. So, and the whole team's ahead of schedule. It really is a sight to see. So let's update you on the Angels game. There are 2 outs.
In the fuck.
And as soon as I say that, there is a base hit by David Freese, which moves the runner over to third base. So now there are runners at the corners, but 2 out. So 8-7.
So A-Rod strikes out looking the same minute Freeze gets his single. Just my fucking luck, Dave. This night's gonna be one of those nights, Dave. I'm telling you. I told Andy today. Andy, we were tweeting back and forth. I told him. I said, Andy, the Yankees are in a game where they really have to win. I said, and I'm gonna be on with Dave. I'm gonna be wound up like a top. So I apologize in advance.
But Andy, but Cap, it's all right. It's perfectly all right. We enjoy your passion. It is very fun to hear the enthusiasm you have for the team and for the game. So again, runners at the corners, but 2 out in the 9th inning. So the big spot for the Angels.
I love this time of year.
And I think Edwin Navarro is up at the plate. We have
Pujols in the game, right?
Yeah, Pujols popped out. So yeah, he is in the game, but I think he was pinch run for. There's a pinch runner, Daniel Robertson, replacing not Pujols because he popped out. So he's probably replacing Freese. Yeah, probably Freese at first base. So we continue, and Navarro at the plate. We'll keep an eye on that. So I want to now, Captain. I want to get your thoughts about Pittsburgh versus Chicago. And again, these 2 teams so good, and it's just amazing. If in a head-to-head matchup, if Arrieta's on the mound, I think it's an interesting call. I'm assuming that Cole.
I agree with you. I think it is. It's a shame that, like you said, yes, the Angels lost. Fuck yeah. All right. I think it's a shame that one of those teams have to be out in that game because the 2 very good teams. You put Arrieta on the mound, like you said. And with that offense of the Cubs, they're going to be tough to beat. But again, the game's going to be in Pittsburgh. They're no slouch either. I think we in our preseason podcast, I said I really, really like their team. And what is Girardi doing? He's pinch running for Beltran. He's going to lose his bat now. Oh God! Oh, all right. But yeah, so I agree with you. I think it's a shame that one of those teams have to go. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the Cubs, even though the game is in Pittsburgh. Even though I love the back end of the Pittsburgh bullpen, Melanson has over 50 saves. I love the way Pittsburgh plays, but the Cubs, man. I mean, Arrieta is super tough. They have guys that Anthony Rizzo has turned into an absolute beast. Obviously, Chris, about Chris Bryant and some of the other guys. So I do like the Cubs in that game. Who'd you pick in that game, Dave?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Chicago as well, even though I think my heart says Pittsburgh. But the thing is, I think when the Pirates face another team that has good pitching, they don't seem to do as well. So, like, for example, this series against the Cardinals, they're not beating the Cardinals in these series. And they've had numerous opportunities to make a case in a series against either the Cubs or the Cardinals, and the other team would win. Like the Cubs, I think, won their last series against Pittsburgh at Wrigley Field. I'll check just to make sure, but so I think the Cubs just simply have the better pitching. They don't have a good bullpen though. I think they ended up getting Fernando Rodney in the bullpen, so that part stinks. But the rotation is nice. I mean, Arrieta and Lester and whoever else they have for 3 and 4. But those 2 are the big deal or the big ones. So I'm gonna go with the Cubs as well.
It's hard with the Cardinals losing, Carlos Martinez. I really like him. Obviously, then Yadi's thumb is an issue, and then the kid Piscataway, concussed himself. You don't know how somebody can come back from that. I mean, Stephen Drew has missed, almost 2.5 weeks after getting hit in the face with a ball with concussion-like symptoms. So you don't really know how somebody comes back from that. So I think, as good as the Cardinals are, they're getting hit by the injury bug again, late into the season. That's not going to help. If I remember correctly, I don't think they had Yadi last year, and he's, a big part of that team, obviously. And then losing Martinez hurts, and then we'll see how this kid Piscataway comes back from from the collision in the outfield. So that should be something to watch as well.
Very nice. So we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, the Cardinals. I didn't really get a sense for like how big a role Piscataway had on the team, but that's just
Me neither.
That's the Cardinals for you. It's all these new guys that you hear of every year, and you get a couple other guys come out of the rough, and it's quite a tribute to them that they've been able to manufacture some incredible success out of that. But Carlos Martinez is a big loss. I agree with that, but that has not stopped me from thinking that they will take the National League. But it's not going to be easy for them this year. It's very, very tough. The field is very, very deep, so it's anyone's game at this point. So it's a big blow. It's a big blow for sure. And who was the other guy that was hurt? Well, it was Wainwright, but I think he's going to come out of the pen, so he will be a factor
I think they activated Wainwright.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw that today.
He pushed out of the bullpen in the first game today. He gave up a run out of the bullpen today.
Okay. So he's a little rusty, but I think it's a reasonable, calculated gamble to get him out of the bullpen. So let's go to Ari. Cardinals against either of these two teams in the division series. Clearly, we were very big on the Cubs. So say it's Cubs-Cardinals. How do you play that? Who do you think's going to be the aggressor in this one?
Go.
Well,
go. Get in the gap. Get in the gap. Drop. Fucking shit.
I shouldn't laugh at this. I'm sorry, Captain. That's my fault. But
every ball hit in the air, the Red Sox outfielders run down. It's ridiculous. Oh, like I said, they pinch run for Beltran, who was at first base with 2 outs, and now you lose Beltran's bat. So, Joe Girardi, foobarring the game up again. Gotta love him.
All right. As we put a wrapper on the 10th inning in the New York game against the Boston Red Sox, let's go back to that question. The division series with the Cardinals against either the Cubs or the Pirates, Ari, it's an interesting matchup. What do you make of it?
I don't think it matters who the Cardinals have. Whoever they put on the field, they execute and they win. It does every year. They bring up another person and he gets it done. I say everything they're team-minded, everything they touch turns to gold, and I don't have any doubt in my mind that they are going to win at least their first round series. No doubt in my mind at all.
I got to agree with Ari, Captain, on this. I just think that everybody thinks, well, this team's the hot team, this team's the fun team, this team's the good team, this team's the exciting team, and the Cardinals, not exciting, not flashy or any of that. They always end up with a win in these series in the divisional round. So I feel exactly the same way. I think you could put a dent, though, find some guy in the minors, and they'll end up pitching like 8 shutout innings. The Cardinals always seem to find a way. They have the magic. It's frustrating to all of us, the other NL fans, like the Mets fans and me, the Dodger fans, and the Giants. Not the Giants fans. Isn't that funny? Like, Ari, I think if there's one kryptonite for the Cardinals, it's the San Francisco Giants. Every time they meet in the postseason, the Giants win.
Yeah, it's that even-year Giants thing outweighs the Cardinals, but nothing else does.
That's it. That's the only thing that stops.
Tyler Clippers threw a wild pitch, so they'll bring in another run from third base. And now it's 7-5 Phillies here in the bottom of the eighth.
Ah, damn. I'm saying damn because I hate the Phillies. Just pretty much the reason. I actually should be enjoying that, but I'm not.
You should want the Phillies to win.
I know. You should want them to win the game because of the Dodgers' home field possibility. Well, what can you do? I'm a Mungo. That's true, though. I should be happy about that. I'm, not. All right.
Is it the 7th inning in that game yet?
It's the bottom of the 8th inning.
Oh, at last.
Oh, there you go.
Will it finish the game?
Oh, Andrew Bailey's in the game. This game will be over soon.
So the Yankee, that's a reference to the Yankee game going to the top of the 11th. And hopefully this podcast, the game will end before the podcast does. We will go a little bit past 8, though, tonight because we still have a couple of other issues to cover. Did I talk to you about the division series yet, Gerry? Cardinals versus...
About the no, but the Cardinals or the Cubs?
Yeah, Cardinals, Cubs. Yeah, Cardinals, basically.
No, we haven't talked about that. I mean, if it would either be Cubs, Pirates. I mean, obviously Cardinals, Pirates, or Cardinals, Cubs.
Right.
Like I said, I thought the Cubs would win that game, and it's hard. I don't like the Cardinals that much. Make the play. Fuck it, I play. I think if it goes to a 7-game series in that series with the 5-game series with the Cubs Cardinals, I think that actually might bode well for the Cubs. 7 games, I think the Cardinals will be able to grind them out. But if the Cubs are able to, steal a game here or there, I think that, maybe they'll be able to win the series. I'm gonna go with the Cubs on that one, Dave. I really don't have the greatest handle on. Oh my fucking Christ Almighty! Oh my God! Jesus Christ! Ground ball to first base, under Ackley's glove, no problem. Second baseman fields it, bobbles it, no throw to first. Oh, my God, David. Oh, my God. I mean, seriously, as soon as the other guys in the bullpen come in, the game just gets all fucked up. This Yankee team, I mean, Dave, I'm telling you, I've watched Yankee teams, struggle in September. I watched the 2000 team do it. There's genuinely this team, it has been more torture than fun watching this team down the stretch. I mean, for the past month and a half, they've been absolutely brutal. And now you got Andrew Bailey. You can't throw a strike. Guys trying to give it. All right, forget about it. But they're gonna lose this fucking game anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Cubs over the Cardinals in the DM. we'll go there. Dave, I don't even know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I wish I could put more insight into this stuff. I'm just so catch the fucking ball. I'm just so locked into this game, and I mean, the Yankees, they need to win. They need to win some games here, man. I mean,
yeah,
they just don't do any of the little things right. They've let a small city on the base pass tonight. They haven't gotten runners in from third with less than 2 outs. They've done nothing right, man. They've done absolutely nothing right. So
for the Yankees, if they don't win tonight, do they get another shot to clinch the home field tomorrow?
Yeah, because, I mean, the Angels lost and the Twins lost, so I believe – no, not home field. No. They'll have a shot to clinch a playoff first.
Oh, my gosh. They haven't even clinched that yet? Oh, boy.
No.
Wow.
No. I mean, I think now their magic number is 1. So,
no, I mean, it's 1. Basically, if anybody else loses.
That should happen. But
yeah,
you'd like them to have home field advantage for that game. I mean, especially with the lead that you had going into the final week. You don't want to squander that away, and especially you don't want to go up to Anaheim where it's been, aside from 2009, that place has been a house of horrors for the New York Yankees. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next, couple of days. My brother actually is going to Baltimore for the final series, so that's interesting.
Very neat. And in more good news for you and Yankee fans, the Astros are trailing the Mariners 2-0 in the top of the third inning.
Nice. My boy Robbie helped me out last night, huh, Dave?
Yeah, huge fan. Cano, man. Cano with that 2-run shot to tie the game. That was big time. And
needed it.
And the Mariners pulled it out after that. So that's another topic, by the way. The Astros, they've really
that's the team, Dave. The Astros, who I am shocked at the plummet that they took.
Yeah. I think they're better than this, too. I think that their record should be maybe closer to 87 wins right now. But they just had their struggles and just some unlikely losses. And we mentioned the Rangers, that series where they swept the Astros. I mean, that was bad. But at least they're still in the playoff hunt. I mean, they could have been completely out of it by now. But it's funny because, I thought, oh, man, they lost a division. It's over. Then I forgot, oh, they're still in the wild card. Now they've lost that. So it's a young team. I guess that's just a sign of youth.
They got Casimir and Gomez at the deadline, and they were soaring at that point. And you had those two pieces, and I thought to myself, okay, they might be the team to beat in the American League. Then all of a sudden, Gomez has hip problems, and, the whole Astros team decided to go into the tank at once. So baseball's a crazy game, man. I mean, how much things could change. I remember, actually, they were talking about on the radio today, Ari, you can relate with this. They said, how the Mets going. When was it? Going close to the trade deadline, losing that game at home against San Diego, and you lost out on Gomez, and the shit fucks us again. God fucking damn it! And so going into that game, they lost that game, and then you lost out on Gomez, and you got Cespedes, and the Mets, who couldn't score runs in the first half, was one of the highest scoring teams in the second half. So it's crazy game how baseball works. And Yankees, like I said, you bring in these other fucking rejects other than Miller, Matanzas, or Wilson, and the Red Sox have runners at the corners with 1 out. So the end is near in the Bronx. The Yankees yet again gag up another game, cannot do anything right. And this is the team who was fighting for a playoff spot against this team who has nothing to play for, and they time and time again cannot get the job done. So that's where we stand here in the Bronx, Dave.
All right, we'll keep looking at that game, and it's definitely a dicey situation for the Yankees with 1 out in the 11th. So to Ari,
and there's a run there, and there's a run scored. The Red Sox take the lead.
Oh,
fuck
there it is.
Bailey. Fuck Joe Girardi. Fuck this goddamn offense. God damn it, this fucking team.
Oh man, that sucks. That's a bummer. So Ari, sounds like you were having a little excitement in the stands. Is everything all right over there at Citizens Bank Park?
Yeah, well, we're in the top of the ninth inning. The Mets have the top of the order up against Phillies closer Ken Giles, trying to get back 2 runs. Everything just hit a fly ball in the field, so there's 1 out. Another inning with the Mets down to the Phillies 7-5. What I thought I saw was another beat ball, but it wasn't a beat ball. I guess a 6 count. And then hit Curtis Grant to send it back. So that's what I was reacting to. But so David Wright out here with nobody on base, down 2 runs, 1 out in the 9th inning. So if this was 2 weeks ago, I would think the Mets were going to win. Right now, I'm less confident. I don't know. I think all of Cespedes thinks this is a win down the scale tonight.
Oh man, yeah. I mean,
they haven't scored since the first inning. So.
Ooh, wow. Now wait, so do you think now are they still trying to figure that out? Because you said that he's not as hurt as we feared. Is there structural damage, or do we not know
his
yet?
His X-rays came back negative.
Okay.
He has bruises on 2 fingers. Nothing is broken. So that's the good news. I mean, the bad news is, he got hit in the fingers. It still hurts, even if it's not broken.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, the good news is, like we said before, they've got 9 days before they play games that really matter again. David Wright hits another lazy fly ball to right field. And 2 out.
All right, so down to the last out. So let's sample that in. While we do that, Ari, let's get your prediction. Well, not even a prediction, just an outlook at the upcoming series. Your guys versus my guys, Mets versus Dodgers. So this will be a fun matchup. It's 2 teams that almost have a mirror image of each other. Very good starting pitching, and the bullpen not so much. So it's going to be a very fun series, I think. Your thoughts about the Mets Dodgers?
I think they match up well. I like the Mets 3 and 4 pitchers a lot better than I like the Dodgers 3 and 4 pitchers. The opposite is true for the 1 and 2. DeGrom's been a little shaky recently, whereas Kershaw, we saw what he did last night. Granty has been the opposite of shaky all year. ERA well in the 2. So, but I mean, it should be a lot of fun. These first 2 games match up very well. Kershaw and DeGrom pitching against each other. We'll see which Met offense shows up, whether it's, the Met offense of August, the Met offense of September, the Met offense of July. They've been, a different team every month here. And, it's hard to predict baseball. We all know that. But, I have to predict a Met win because I just have to. But, do I feel confident about it? I don't know. I think it's going to be a really, really good series.
I do too. I will say I can't predict this series because everyone knows my potential with predictions. So I will say the following. I think this series, this one thing I do know, I think the series will be 1-1 after 2 games. That's that much I know. It'll be 1-1 after 2 games.
Which is a good argument for not really wanting to have home field, because if what you really think is it's going to be 1-1, then you might as well put those games on the road and come home.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it is 1-1, then the team with the other team gets the home field advantage all of a sudden. So it's certainly that's one of the reasons, one of the arguments. But basically what you said. So it's very fascinating to observe that as you look at it with the prism of this week, as we look towards next week. So it'll be interesting. Here's one thing I'm rooting for with the Mets and the Dodgers. Please, for the love of God, do not let 2 people get thrown at home on the same play. That's it. Other than that, hopefully it's a good series. Jeez. Gerry, your thoughts about Mets and Dodgers? What do you see from this series?
You know my thoughts, Dave. I think I've said it before. I think I actually echo Ari a little bit. Maybe a couple weeks ago, I thought a little stronger that the Mets would be able to handle the Dodgers, and after seeing some, obviously both bullpens aren't the best, but it'll be interesting to see how these young arms on the Mets handle the postseason. But obviously, I mean, I've been saying it. I'm going to go with the Mets. No offense to you guys. I just, no Puig and Jock Peterson went into the tank. I haven't really followed the Dodgers over the past week, so I'm not exactly sure, how they are going into the postseason. But following them throughout the season, from afar, they do all the other teams. I don't know. There's something about them. Obviously, they have the two-headed monster in Greinke and Kershaw, who are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, the Mets will be able to counter that somewhat with their young guys. And I think the Mets' offense is better. I really do. I think having Cespedes in the middle of that order, David Wright, Curtis Granderson, Daniel Murphy, Lucas Duda, I think that Met offense can put up some runs. We're just going to see if they're going to be able to perform in the postseason. I'm going to go with the Mets over the Dodgers in that series. And by the way, the Yankees are losing 7-5. And yet again, do not clinch a playoff spot as they absolutely drag their dead carcass across the finish line. I mean, it has been brutal watching this fucking baseball team over the past month and a half. But we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully they can clinch with a win and not back their way in. So we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
And to repeat, the Mariners, if they finish this game against the Astros, I believe that clinches it for the Yankees, right? So that will be their back in.
And Betts hits another one high and deep to left. Going back, see ya. Jason Shreve gives up yet another home run. Why the fuck do we still use this piece of fucking shit?
Well, you have to understand the Caps' position.
Dave, I can't stand this baseball team. I mean, the bullpen is absolutely horrific. Outside of 3 people, these pitchers should be pitching in Double-A. They fucking suck.
Wow.
They can't throw strikes, and when they do, they get hammered. We're going nowhere, Dave. We're going absolutely nowhere.
You sound like TFC 3PO right now. Like he's like, the Mets aren't going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. But I will say this as far as from the bullpen. I thought the Yankees were having one of the better bullpens of the American League. That surprises me that they fell off.
They had 3. The Boldy injury hurt because if you take one from the bullpen, you have to put him in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Shreve was pretty close in the first 2-3 months of the season has been, Dave, as bad as you can be. I'm talking. This kid should not even be on the roster. He couldn't get me or you out. And Girardi wasn't out there every other fucking day, and he's awful. You have obviously Justin Wilson, Miller, and Betances, who are very good. Those are 3 good pitchers. But with our starting rotation, they don't get deep in the game. So you're going in the bullpen sometimes in the 6th inning, 7th inning, and you're getting sometimes even in the 5th inning. So without Warren, that hurts. And you're bringing guys in. And Shreve's been awful. Andrew Bailey sucks. Pinder sucks. Rumbelow sucks. They have a very good back end of the bullpen, but everything else, Dave, they're literally minor league pitchers. We call them the Scranton Shuttle. I mean, these guys, they belong in the minors, and they can't get anybody out. And this game tonight, Dave, I'm telling you, I'm gonna lose sleep over it. I am infuriated. Didi Gregorius alone left 10 runners on base. The Yankees couldn't score when it mattered. They couldn't get the big hit. I am just absolutely livid with the way this baseball. And you know what, Dave? I've been a Girardi defender. He's been fucking awful. He's been absolutely atrocious. I've seen him fuck up more games this year than he has in his whole Yankee career. He has been downright awful, downright down for that goddamn binder of his, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him going matchup to matchup. I am sick of it. He pulled Justin Wilson in the game. We had a 1-2 count. I'm sick of it, Dave. I'm sick of it. And this team, Dave, is going nowhere. They can get to the wild card game. I don't even know why I'll be jacked up for it. They'll pull the same bullshit they've been pulling for the past month and a half. They won't be able to score any runs. The bullpen will be coming and giving up lasers left and right, walking people. The Red Sox scored 4 runs this inning. As soon as it's not Wilson, Miller, Betances, they give up 4 runs. Dave, this team is a dead team walking, and Brian Cashman better get the fucking work and make a better team next year.
At what point are you going to... Well, let me ask that question later. Let's go to Ari first. Ari, the Mets game is final, I saw. So the Phillies beat the Mets 7-5. And
yes, they did. I'm walking home now. So
nice, okay.
We're taking you on the walk home.
Yeah, this is very impressive. You've got some street music, marimbas, and very.
Yeah, the dude's playing the bongos here when I'm walking through the parking lot.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Do they do bacon wrap hot dogs where you live, or is that just an LA thing?
I mean, I've heard of that. Not a thing.
Nah, come on by sometime. Come on by out to LA. I'll show you around. That's it. Those things are pretty good.
I'm hungry.
I wish I could have gone to that game with you tonight. You know what? I would have gone if I was in the area. Even if I was in New York, I would have made it. I would have made the trip. I would have taken a train and.
I had a free ticket.
It's a bummer I couldn't be around for that. That would have been cool. I would have enjoyed that. We'd have watched some crazy baseball. That would have been quite a weird game.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. AL. Do you agree with Captain's point?
If I gotta pop off for a second, I'll call you back.
Okay, no problem. We'll wait.
Okay.
As you do that. So Gerry, let's then segue then as Ari transitions. Let's segue to the remaining series. There's only one series left to break down, and it is who I believe it will be the West Division winner. And since the Texas won, I think it's going to be Texas, which stinks because Texas is not a good team. But I don't think. Well, Houston's gone. Maybe the Angels could. Let me look at that one more time because I'm trying to check the elimination number. For the Angels, it's amazing they're even in this, but the Angels. Okay, so the magic number for the Rangers is 3. So 3 Ranger wins coupled with 3 Houston and Anaheim losses. So a combination of those two will give them the division, but I don't know. So the division is still up for grabs, but whoever wins that, so it's either going to be. Let's say it's the Rangers or the Angels. One of the two. They will play and again, this is contingent on who gets the home field, but right now it's going to be the Royals. So let's assume it's West Division winner versus Central Division winner. It could even be a rematch of last year's division series between the Angels and Royals, and you saw that one. That was abysmal on the part of the Angels. They did nothing in that series. How would you... Let's say it's Kansas City versus either Texas or Anaheim. Who do you like?
Kansas City. I know they have not been playing the best baseball. I know they lost Holland for the rest of the year.
Whoa! They lost Holland? Isn't that like one of their 3?
They did. That was their closer, I believe.
Oh my God! I didn't know this. That's horrible.
Yes.
Did not realize this.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I think he was pitching with like something in his elbow that's been torn for a while now.
Oh boy!
And I don't know if he even knew it. He was still, getting people out, and now he's gone for the rest of the year. So Wade Davis is now their closer.
I do remember that Davis was closing in the last time I saw a Royals game. I did not realize that Holland was gone, though. That's horrendous. Because that's
a big blow.
It's a huge blow. Because they need all three of those guys to be great for them to have
He's getting Tommy John surgery on Friday.
Oh, my God. I had no idea. That is unbelievable. Let's Ari, did you hear about Holland? That's unbelievable. Holland's out for the year. That bullpen is completely hampered by that. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's 1/3 of that three-headed monster.
Yeah, that's a big blow for them, man. When I heard that, I thought the same thing. I still, like I said, I still took them to win them the division series because even going into the season, I was not very big on Anaheim, and obviously Texas. That was a team who I thought, like I said, we was looking more towards next year. Although they do have some good moxie, man. They've been playing good for the past month. They actually swept the Astros at home, which was huge. But yeah, I still go with the Royals. It's funny because you see what's his name? Like I said, Holland being out for the year, and how your season can change so quickly. Like you said, Dave, that was 1/3 of one of their big three. So we're going to see what happens to them later on in the postseason. I do think they get by the AP divisional series, though.
I think the reason why it's as impactful is more impactful here than it might be if, let's say a starter went down, is because the bullpen is a much higher profile situation. Like those 3 innings are high profile situations,
especially in the postseason.
Yeah, and the way that the Royals build that bullpen, it really basically relies on those guys heavily for the success that they've had in the postseason. So that was what built most of those wins. Not having Holland, that is a huge blow. So let's see. Do we have Ari back? Ari, are you back with us?
We do. I am.
I couldn't believe the Holland injury. I didn't realize that he was hurt until just a few seconds ago. That's a huge blow. That is a huge blow. So where do you?
Yeah, he's gonna have Tommy John, right? I think, and he's out for this year and next year.
Whoa!
Yep.
Wow. Oh man, that might do it for the Royals. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I think people were talking right before he went down that his velocity was way down. And how Ned Yost was going to have to, switch up the bullpen roles because Holland has just not been throwing the way Holland throws. And now, he's got a UCL tear and he's Tommy John.
That's that. That is that. Because now Yost has to make decisions on the bullpen, and he's no good at that. So,
yeah, but he's still very deep. He's got Ryan Madsen as his 6th inning guy. I mean, Ryan Madsen hasn't been good in a few years, but he's got that pedigree. He's been there. And he's got, the other 2 guys he had last year. And, their rotation is shaky, but their rotation's been shaky all year.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't matter.
So, does that change your outlook? So then overall, is your outlook on Kansas City any different than it would have been, say, maybe 2 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, they've not looked as well. I mean, they went out and got Cueto, and he's been back.
Right.
So that kind of colors things. They haven't had anything to fight for in a couple of months, so they just look kind of lost. They look like, I don't know what's the word for it, stagnant. But their lineup is very well balanced offensively and defensively, and they still, I mean, even without Holland, they still have probably, I don't know.
Double play, game over. Go fuck yourself, Yankees. Sorry.
Probably the deepest bullpen out of the playoff team, maybe Pittsburgh. But, I mean, still, even without
I think that's... I would say that the Kansas City bullpen probably still has some guys, too. So, I think you have it right on there, Ari. So now, would you then say that then, with that in mind, then them against either Texas or Houston or the Angels, do you like Kansas City?
Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself, but I think they have the things that win in the postseason. I mean, they themselves proved it last year, instead of the Giants. Last year, postseasons to me, regular seasons are about stars, pitching depth, and postseasons are about bullpen.
Right,
so,
right.
That's why I would pick the Royals.
Okay.
So.
Very good. So now let's go ahead and get. We can do LCS, or we can just do who you think is going to win each league. Let's just break it down. What are your league? We broke down who's going to win each division series. So from that, who do you have winning the American League, and who do you have winning the National League? We'll start with Gerry. Gerry, who's winning the AL? Who's winning the NL?
AL, I'm going with the Toronto Blue Jays.
All right.
I'm still a little skeptical because of the old adage that good pitching beats good hitting, especially in the postseason. But watching them all year and them having guys like Donaldson and Batista and Encarnacion, they can lay dormant for 6 innings and then have an inning where they can explode for 7 runs. So and when Tulowitzki comes back, getting through that lineup, Dave, I know from experience, having watched the Yankees play series against them, it's a bitch, dude. I mean, you got Ben Revere, guys like Kevin Pillar, who I believe was like an AL Player of the Month this month, or AL Player of the Week, some bullshit he was, because he was going crazy. I mean, they are just a very good team. Now they actually have a guy in David Price who can go out there and be able to win a big game for them. And they got a 20-year-old closer. Granted, he's young, but he's got some really good stuff. So I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. I think that they are the cream of the crop of the AL. What they did since the Tulowitzki trade is absolutely ridiculous. I think they went like 41-15 or something since the Tulo trade, and it's just mind-boggling numbers that they put up. And who knows? Maybe they come in and their bats go cold and they lose in the first round. Who knows? But I think that from what I've seen from them all year, that place is going to be a fucking insane asylum. I think that they're going to come out of the AL and win the pennant this year. And as much as it pains me to say, because I don't like them, so.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about your NL pick? Who do you like from the National League?
This is a lot tougher because, like I said, it's an easy pick to pick the Cardinals. It's a very easy pick. They've been the front runners from pretty much when the season started. I really would love to pick the Cubs. I think that would be some juice, and I would actually have some rooting interest in that because I would root so goddamn hard against the Toronto Blue Jays. It would be awesome. But I don't think the Cubs are there yet. I think they are maybe a year or two away. I think that either the Cardinals. I don't want to say Cardinals, Dave. I really, really don't want to say Cardinals, but we might be seeing the Cardinals-Jays World Series. We might
Battle of the Birds.
I really would love to say Cubs. My heart wants me to say Cubs. My brain doesn't think that they're going to be.
Right.
They're gonna get there, but I guess I'm gonna go Cardinals. I'm gonna have a Birds World Series: the Cardinals versus the Jays, Bluebirds versus the Redbirds.
I love it. I do actually like that. That's kind of fun, actually. Well, before I get to Ari, I'll give you my prediction. I'm very shocked at the Holland injury, though. I was completely unaware. So wow, poorly produced by me, but. You know what? I'm still going to go with the Royals because you mentioned it. If you talk about complete pitching rosters, of the guys in the AL, I think they are the best, although Houston's not bad. So if they can hang on and get in the playoffs, think about the Astros for a sec. They might have a shot too. But I'm going to go with Kansas City. So I'll go with them as I did at midseason, as it probably did in the beginning of the season. I think the Royals will be the ones to represent the American League. In the National League, yeah, I got to go with the Cardinals. So we're going to go for the all-Missouri World Series from Dave in the City. So we predict some kind of tie-in one way or the other. So now, Ari, your predictions. Who wins the AL? Who wins the NL?
In the AL, I'm going to agree with Gerry and pick the Blue Jays. That lineup is ridiculous. And Jose Pista, there's no weak spots in it. It's unbelievable. So, the Royals lineup is very well balanced, but the Toronto lineup is just crazy. So I'm going to go, and they have David Price now. So Again, depth is less important than having that ace in the postseason than it is in the regular season. And in the regular season, especially since July 28th or so, they've been unstoppable. So, excuse me, I'm going to pick the Blue Jays. In the NL, I'm going to pick the New York Mets.
Well. You've got it. I love it.
You know, first of all, I can't pick the Mets. Second of all, the Mets are a 630-something team when the 4 pitchers who are going to start in the postseason start.
Oh, wait, I forgot about the Mets. I'm picking the Mets too, Ari.
Oh, wow.
That's the team that's playing these games. Not the team when Bartolo Colon pitches, not the team when Logan Barrett pitches, not the team when John Neese pitches, but the team when Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom and Steven Matz and Noah Syndergaard pitch. And that team is going to be really hard to beat. So I am picking the Mets.
You have a good pick because the Mets, I think, have the most. It's not even close. Like the Mets have the most complete rotation in baseball. You have to, when you talk about all 5 pitchers, nobody beats the Mets.
Yeah,
nobody.
I am contradicting myself about bullpen because the Met bullpen is very shaky. But I think the team with those 4 guys pitching every day is going to be real tough to beat.
I agree. If they can get past the Dodgers somehow.
And they got to get past the Cardinals who can't do anything wrong.
That
so,
too. Okay.
But they could beat the Cardinals.
It could happen. I mean, it's not completely impossible. I mean, certainly, both of us, Ari and I, we're so familiar with the Cardinals, we would certainly expect them to just wipe out whoever comes out of the R series. But you never know.
I'm looking for a big home run off Adam Wainwright sometime.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Well, if the Dodgers can't make it, that would be nice. If that home run comes off.
The Mets, they obviously already know they struggled against the teams like the Pirates and the Cubs or whatever. But I mean that all gets thrown out the window once you get in the postseason. Those numbers don't matter, and it's a totally new season. And if anybody starts to bring that up, it doesn't matter because. I watched some of the games they played against the Pirates. There were some extra inning games or games that lost by 1 run. I mean, that could go either way. I mean, I wouldn't even, once the postseason starts, everything goes out the window. Everything. It's a totally new season. A ball bounces this way or that way. You might find yourself winning a baseball game. So I definitely think the Mets can make some noise in that NL. A lot of youth in the NL with the Cubs and the Mets, and you got some youth with the Pirates and the Cardinals. A lot of youth in the National League.
That's why it's so fun, though. I think that's that's what makes it so fun for me. There's a lot of youth.
It's great.
It is really fun.
Great.
Absolutely. Guys, I'm really looking forward to a great postseason, and it really has been a blast covering with both of you. And may good things happen in the postseason. All I ask for is juice, and for the Cardinals to lose somewhere along the line. That's it. We can get through that. We're in good shape, and I'm going to savor every moment. It'll be fun. So good luck. Well, I don't want to say good luck, but let's just say let's have a good postseason. I hope it's a good series.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. And Ari, that
well,
goes.
Mine will be for one night, and I won't even be in the fucking state to watch it. So whatever.
All right, but either way, it should be a fun time. So, guys, enjoy.
Don't get me started on that trip, Verdi. Don't get me started.
I won't. We'll stop there. Fellas, thanks again. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see what happens. It'll be a fun time. So take care, y'all. Have a good. Take care of yourselves, and thanks again for a wonderful season of great baseball coverage. I think we'll have you back when we cover the League Championship Series and the World Series. We're not done with you guys yet, but it's been a great time. And so I just want to thank you for being so good with the baseball.
Sorry for yelling.
That's all right, man.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having us.
You got it. Take care. Have a good weekend,
Thanks,
fellas.
Dave. Have a good night.
All right, you too. That's it for the show, and it's a wonderful program tonight. Thanks to Ari in Philadelphia. Thanks to Gerry. Thanks to Andy. Thanks to John. Thanks to Ron. And thanks to all of you for listening tonight. Been a lot of fun. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the remainder of the regular season. Enjoy the football and coming up the postseason. Next week, we have the NHL preview show. Stay tuned for that. Till then, we'll see you next time.